Press start.
Episode 156 has begun. My name is Tim, here with Jeff. Hello.
Hi.
Digging the hat, man. I like it.
Thank you.
Hat.
Bad hair day, hence the hat.
Oh, fair enough.
Let me clarify. Bad no hair day.
I actually think my Hogwarts character has a hat like that actually now.
Yeah,
I like that.
There are plenty of these little, I forget what they call them. They call them in the game. They call them like flat hats or something in the game. But yeah, there are plenty of these, and there's like detective hats too, like from the 30s or whatever. Like, see, I'm gonna catch this guy. See, like,
that's what I'm saying. I was hiding the caps in that game for a while, but I started leaving it on. I kind of like it. It just adds to it. Yeah. Just let whatever you're wearing.
Me too, but at the same time, I'm like, if hats are a thing, obviously you can adjust the appearance, but like, I'm like, why do I change my hair ever? Like, why?
Yeah.
Because I'm wearing a hat the whole time. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Introduce somebody else.
Good point. Derek is here as well. You have a dragon behind you, Derek. I hope you know that.
Look out!
I do.
It's got a red butthole.
I also am still doing my character wearing a full face mask and a hood. I have not changed my appearance in that
How have I
yet.
not been able to figure out how to put on a hood?
Yeah, I don't think I have a hood.
I just haven't been able to find a cloak that lets me put the hood on. I'm always having to wear a hat.
You haven't found one, or you don't know how to?
I don't know how to.
Actually shows the hood.
I know how to adjust appearances, but I think maybe it's the fact that I'm always wearing a hat that I never get to see the cloak with a hood.
Sure. Well, that would make sense. You probably have to remove that, right? Or
maybe.
hide
No,
it.
I equip hats, but you just select the option to put the hood on, and it covers up.
What? There's an option to put a hood on?
Yeah, I missed it. That's
what I was saying. I said, did you not unlock a hood? Or like on the whatever the skull one that I wear, the one that came with like
the DLC or the deluxe whatever.
Yeah.
If you go over it, I think it's the X button.
Oh.
On Xbox, and it will.
So it's probably square on. Gotcha.
So it's while you're changing the appearance, then hit square again to put the hood up.
Yes.
It's something I haven't played in a little while. I've been playing other games, but yes. Because every time I change my hat, my hood disappears. So
you have to redo your cosmetic, yes. Yeah.
All right, well there you go. There's a good hot tip for Hogwarts. And Dan is here as well. What's up,
Dan? You guys need a hood tutorial?
We do, yes. Show us how it's done.
Please. Oh, it goes
Wait, let me try. Apply what I've learned.
Yeah.
There you go.
I look too much like a Unabomber when I start doing that kind of stuff.
You definitely do.
There you go. That's my TED Talk.
I look a little too crazy when I put that on. All right. Well, let's jump right into my new favorite segment on the show, which I didn't tell you guys about yet, but we're going to call it Double A Games with Derek. And we're going to kick things off with Atomic Heart this week. This has always been, of course, a running joke within our podcast and within our chat that most of you listeners and viewers, of course, don't see. But you hear us talk about it. We talk about swimming in sevens. If a game, maybe didn't have the budget or the support behind it that maybe a massive game would have, and it's kind of in that double A tier that people have always talked about how that tier has disappeared. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like every year there's double A games. Plenty of them, but whatever. But probably Derek is usually
more.
I would say there's more too. Yeah. They just don't have like a known licensed IP, which they used to back in the day.
I think that's what it was, right?
And now it's not really a movie tie-in; it's new IP. You got Greedfall, and you got lots of different games that are new IPs that are kind of filling that empty void that was left by these licensed games. But anyway, Derek's usually the one who's like, I'm going to give these games a shot, and usually he's the one who actually finds let me find the good stuff and draw it out of these games, even though they're not perfect. I still enjoy them. And so Atomic Heart came out this past week I think we all expected the reviews to be kind of mid, and they were kind of like upper mid, if we're being honest. It's in the sevens for the most part. So it fits that swimming in sevens theme. But I played about an hour and a half of this. I think Jeff played some. Dan, you might have played a little bit too of Atomic Heart.
Hour and a half-ish, yeah. Okay,
so about the same amount I did. And then I think Derek's played the most. He's doing it so we don't have to, is what he's telling us. So
pretty much.
You're so brave.
I think I'm like 5 or 6 hours in.
Yeah, so tell me about Atomic Heart. What do you think so far? What are the pros and the cons? And
so I'm not even like exaggerating to even try to be comical at all. But in my 5-6 hours, I have probably told the game 5 or 6 hours worth of time in it. Like, you're stupid. Like, this game, you are so dumb. Like, that's all I do. I just talk to him like, you're so dumb. This is the
Derek's
dumbest
talking
game.
to video games.
Yeah, I do. And I'm like, why am I playing this? This is dumb. I'm going to quit. And then I just keep
Give me an
playing
example of something that was dumb, because I think there's a lot of parts of it that are kind of
Everything
immature.
about the game is dumb. Like, the character is a teenage brat.
Yeah,
the glove is fine. The glove is not like, for instance, I didn't have a huge issue with Forspoken. Like, I thought the girl was annoying, but I thought the guy, who is he?
Cuff.
Yeah, Cuff was pretty cool, but he could be a little annoying. This glove, to me, is not annoying at all. Like, it doesn't overtalk. It only speaks when it's spoken to. Right, In fact, that's what your character tells it. Like, don't talk unless I address you. And then when it does speak, it just says, like, one line. It doesn't, like, try to crack jokes or anything like that. But the character's over the top. Like, he overreacts to everything. Like, the glove will be like, now you only have 2 more things to do to unlock the door. And he's like, thanks a lot for that. Like, I didn't know, stupid. And I'm like,
everything. It's every
He's
line.
He's condescending as hell.
So crazy.
So, Derek, how I would describe it, because that's the perfect description. How I describe it is it's someone who was in the middle of something, and now you're asking them to help you with the project, and every little step of that project is annoying to them now. So it seems like he's like, he's just put out by everything. So I didn't pick up on this when the game first started. The opening sequence, I was like, he's a little snarky, but I don't know why people are complaining.
That's exactly how I felt.
When you get into the loop and you actually start like getting to upgrades and like opening up new sections and like learning new ways of combat and all that stuff, I'm thinking this is where the game should start to really open up, and I should start being a little more interested in this main character and his motivations while the game play becomes more interesting. He is insufferable, dude. I cannot handle listening to him.
He hasn't gotten any
puts
better.
him out. Everything puts him off. He's just kind of like, oh, this again. Oh, let me guess, you can't unlock this door either. I'm just like, dude, I'm gonna uninstall this game if you say one more thing to this glove. And so I did, because he said one more thing to the glove.
Glove lives matter, right?
So he's really annoying, but that's not really what I'm most annoyed by. Like, I don't think the combat's at all fun. Like, your character's super slow.
Yep.
Everything he does is slow. And then if you set off any alarms, which are... So here's the thing. You guys, most of you, because you're only an hour and a half in, you've probably gotten to the point where you were kind of in the open world, but you really weren't. Like, you get to that first base area, and then you have to... That's where you do like your first real prologue mission, which is that is tedious too, because you eventually get to a place where you have to unlock the main door to actually get in the open world. And that door makes you get 4 cylinders. So you have to fill up 4 cylinders with like some type of liquid. And then you have to put those cylinders in just to unlock this door. And the game, and I remember a review was making fun of this, but I had no context to what they were talking about. The game actually makes fun of the fact that they're making you do this. Because at one point, the main character's like, so you dumb motherfuckers have to get 4 cylinders every time you want to open this door? That's ridiculous. And the glove's like, yep, that's what we do. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so stupid. This is not funny.
Can I just say, though, like, the opening, I thought the premise, and I still think the premise is really interesting. Not only do I think I thought it looked really good. I thought the setting, despite the real world people getting mad about it, I don't think it glorifies or villainizes anything. It's like watching or playing Wolfenstein and thinking they somehow are glorifying the Nazis. It's like, no, they're not.
I think that was a thing, though, actually, when Wolfenstein came out.
I think so too.
Probably
like
was.
It was like the first time
I don't listen to that
portraying Nazis in like a video game. So
probably LA
Times. I really like the setting. I love this kind of like throwback and yet futuristic with AI and robots setting, and like Wolfenstein similar. And I think the robot designs look really cool, and they're very freaky. They're kind of like these mannequins that are supposed to be helping you, but they're starting to go a little haywire, something setting them off.
Yeah.
And even that opening section where they attack you and the ones in there with you asking for help, I thought that whole thing was very compelling, even though it took too long. That intro was too lengthy.
It was
too slow. You do a little too much talking, but I remember still thinking like, I'm interested. Like this is kind of a BioShock Infinite vibe, and I'm kind of feeling this.
But Tim, being a BioShock clone is a bad thing.
Right.
It's a bad thing if it's
totally a bad thing. Yeah. No, I was looking forward to it. I was like, ooh, I can't wait for my powers and my guns. And I finally got a couple of things, and I was like, this isn't all that fun. Like even my first power.
BioShock's more arcadey and more action, and it's way more intelligent. Like the main characters, the story, the depth of the story, all that's just that's AAA. This is a game developer and publisher that's selling you a AA game but advertising it as AAA. Like I'm not saying like I'm gonna go say that they false advertise and I'm gonna whine and complain about that. But they're clearly trying to say this is a top of the line first person shooter, open world RPG mechanics, blah blah blah. With how slow it is and how bad the gameplay is, in my opinion, this doesn't make me feel like I'm playing BioShock. It makes me feel like I'm playing an old school Fallout game. And there's a lot of looting and there's a lot of exploring. So I'm like, I really feel like I'm playing Fallout. I don't feel like I'm playing BioShock.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Now, the other thing is, and this was part of my ranting, and yes, I was actually saying this out loud to the game. I was like, well, at least Fallout actually has a VAT system that's fun. You guys just suck. And all you do is throw these acrobatic robots at you. So this is the part where I really complain a lot. You get overwhelmed by bots. Like you're just constantly getting knocked down. And I know they have this dodge mechanic, and it's really dumb.
It doesn't work all the time.
It doesn't work very well, and it's only really good for one-on-one. Like if you actually see the bot coming at you and you see him like rearing up, then you dodge and it works.
When you fight that first laser bot one-on-one, the dodge worked well, and I was like, oh, this feels kind of cool if they can make the combat feel like this.
Just wait till you have 4 flying above you while one's healing the camera that's going to set off an alarm again, which then means it's going to send more bots, and I'm like, that's where I'm mainly bitching about this game, and I'm like, this is so dumb. You give me 5 bullets, and I've got 75 enemies. They just keep
So it focuses. Does it focus more on melee? Like, does there not like kind of evolve? With
they definitely in the beginning want you to focus on melee. Now, here's the thing: you can, and this is where it's a little bit like Prey. When you go after you get raped by the refrigerator.
By the way, that scene is so stupid. Like, come on, guys.
So
like, come on.
We got to pause right there because you brought it up. There's the upgrade machine, which looks like an old school Coke machine or refrigerator or something. And it grabs you with these weird metal tentacles, and the whole time.
Hold on, real quick. The hallway scene right before that was actually kind of interesting, right? There was like this super creepy vibe all of a sudden. I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Like, what's going on? But then goes into what you're saying.
With the people kind of suspended in midair, and dragged down the hallway, and But then this old retro refrigerator Coke machine thing that wants to bring you to bed and do things to you, and then like it's very odd.
It's supposed to be comedic, but again, I think not it misses funny, man. The mark.
I actually was like, I think I made the noise. I'm playing alone. I think I made this noise. Ugh. Like as it's happening, I was like, this is uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable. I didn't like it.
Yeah. So you can upgrade. No, it wasn't funny to me.
It wasn't a funny approach to that type of humor at all.
No. So then when that becomes unlocked, you can then use her to like upgrade your character, upgrade your glove, upgrade your guns, and you can create new guns. So this is where it's like Prey. Well, you can also create your ammunition. So I have like gone in there and I've made a ton of shotgun ammunition just because when I get caught up in that loop of setting off an alarm, and I know people might be listening like, well, don't set off an alarm. You're not understanding. it's really hard to spot some of these because you're out in this open, shiny world, and they're off like in the distance, like high up, and it's really hard to see them. And they're close to each other, so you will kill one thinking, okay, I got that camera, I'm good. And there might be another one to the left of you, and boom, you've set off an alarm.
The stealth detection is really unforgiving, by the way. Like if they spot you, like that's it. Like there's not like a little meter that slowly fills up. It's like, huh? What's that over there? Like no,
to kind of indicate to you that you kind of like you need to step back a second.
Just,
like,
you mean like every other game? Actually,
every other game.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's just, to me, it's a game. If I had to summarize it, since I've been talking about it for a while, and obviously people get the gist, I don't like it, but I do like it. So don't ask me to explain that because I am going to keep playing it. But like my biggest gripe is it's got a bunch of systems that you've seen in other games that did it really well, and this game does it beyond average to bad. And then the main gripe for a lot of negative parts of reviews, like from mainstream, was that the pacing was terrible. It absolutely is terrible, and I'm not just talking about the intro. Like unlocking that door and getting 4 cylinders, you're not just walking into another room and picking up a cylinder and then walking in and putting it in. You're having to solve puzzles in each one. It took like 2 hours to open this damn door. Now I'm doing like this urgent mission here, and to open the main door takes like an hour and a half, 2 hours to solve all these puzzles. And one of them, here's the worst part. One of them is you get up, you travel through that like whatever crap, the see-through stuff that has like all the memories.
Oh yeah. It's like the goop or whatever.
Yeah. You travel up top. And you're up top, and then you click a button, and this like little rail cart comes around. Which, why did somebody create this? I don't know. You get on the cart, and it's slowly. So if you think your character's slow, this rail cart is the slowest fucking thing ever. And what you have to do, you have to ride it the entire way around in a circle, because you have to hit with lightning these, and you have to wait until you're over it. It'll tell you Y, hit Y. I'm playing on Xbox, or I'm playing on PC, but I'm using Xbox controller. So I hit Y, and it electrocutes it, and that will get the pods or whatever to start moving faster to fill up your cylinder with the liquid that you need. But you have to do it for all 4. So you're slowly going around. Well, after you trigger one, a bunch of flying bots all around you start flying to you. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll just shoot at them with my I have like an electric pistol that doesn't have ammo. It just has like a charge. Well, it's not very powerful, and it's not very accurate. And so if you miss, you start to get swarmed. Well, one of them hit me, and I'm like, no big deal. He's hitting me. And I even said this. I'm not making this up for the podcast. I said before, I was like, if one of these fuckers knocks me off and I have to do this again, and sure enough, it happened twice. The dude runs into you, and that's what he's trying to do. He runs into you just to try to knock you off. I'm like, this is so dumb. Because now I've fallen down, I have to take 5 hours to walk through the goo again, walk to the goo, go through the goo, get up top, trigger the slow cart to come all the way back around, get back on the cart and go all the way back around to trigger these things so I can fill up this cylinder, pick it up, and then put it. And that was the first cylinder. So I had to do 3 after that. So I was God. This is so dumb.
But I'm gonna keep playing
gamey. Yes, and I'm.
Well, this has been the AA download with Derek, and
who is really the idiot here? Is it the game, or is it Derek who's like, I hate this game, but I'm gonna
Why not both? Why not both?
It's on Game Pass, and so I don't like. For me, it's an easy it was an easy uninstall. Once I got to like the 4th maybe or 5th save point. And I was just like, "That's it. Like, I'm good. I have no interest."
There's too many games for anybody aside from me who's choosing to do this, so I can bitch and whine on this podcast. There's too many games for any of you guys to be wasting your time.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Well, again, you're very brave, and we thank you.
I'm very brave and stunning as well.
It's a very selfless act to play this game for us.
It really is.
really is.
Also, one of the
maybe we'll call this section "Hurts So Good" with Derek.
The compliments for this game is the boss fight. So if you guys watched any of the reviews, almost every review is like the boss fights are great. I got to the first one, which is basically like fighting a motorized like circular hedgehog who just goes absolutely nuts. That's the other thing I don't feel like.
That looks cool. I saw the video of that. That looks cool.
I didn't think the boss fight was that impressive. I won't say it's terrible, but it was absolutely obnoxious as well because I didn't know I was getting into it, and so I had to use all my health, and I didn't have all my bullets stocked up, so it actually became harder than it should have been. But
that's what she said.
Yeah, but I wasn't that impressed by it. I thought it was okay.
She said that. Yep.
Yeah. Well. Several times. Well, they don't actually say that. Women.
That joke is still better than any of the humor I've heard in that game. So
I know.
I will allow it.
It is really funny. Like what Derek painting the picture. He's 5-6 hours in, so he knows more than all of us how annoying that character is. But even just me having experienced the same amount that Dan and Tim have of an hour and a half of the game. Even that alone is like enough for me to go, oh, I'm really not interested in pursuing this main character's arc. Because as soon as, even when other characters or your glove educate you on certain things you're capable of, as soon as you're told, he's immediately like, why didn't you tell me this before? Immediately.
Yeah, good to know. Mad. Good to know now, Charles.
Yeah,
Charles.
Like, all right,
yeah, that's the other thing is, so in the part where I was opening the door, I think it was towards the end, you discover somebody died that you needed to be alive or whatever, so you let down the man that assigned you to this mission, who's like your father figure, right? And so your character, again, context here is he's been bitching, he's been an asshole the whole time. All he does is he's a negative Nancy. Now he's trying to get me to care about his feelings because he starts telling me how he's so upset that this guy is dead and blah, blah, blah. And so the glove tries to make him feel better. And he's like, it's okay, blah, blah, blah.
And then I can do things to you.
And then this character, it's like, I got a hole here.
There's like tentacles and stuff.
Those little tentacles. Oh my God. Wow, this guy got really lewd.
And this guy is like, no, you don't understand. He's like, I mean, it's all like a soap opera. He's like, you don't understand. He's like a father figure. I let him down. And I'm like, dude, you're letting me down talking. Don't talk anymore. I do not care about your feelings. I felt like I was dating this guy. I was like, I don't care about your feelings. Yeah. I don't care about anything you're going through. Don't talk anymore. Please, just stop.
It's really, it's one thing for like, I get it when, like the lead character from Forspoken, I understood where she was coming from because she had to be scrappy her whole life and whatnot. With this guy, it felt like he was a soldier being given orders, and the whole time he's just bitching, and I really didn't have any background on why he was being so angsty. So obviously,
if you're a soldier, you should not be so angsty.
Yeah, like if your main character just did like Kratos style grunts in response, like I probably would like him. I like this.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah,
yeah. But
now I get the whole silent protagonist, or you have a protagonist that is like a Kratos. Like a lot of people get annoyed. They're like, I hate all these characters are all the same. Like Geralt, even in The Witcher, he's very like he talks, but he's very no nonsense. He doesn't talk a lot. He doesn't.
Same with like Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. He's very kind of grunty and keeps to himself. He doesn't have a lot to say a lot of the time. And
and there's a whole thing with that too. There's actually a reason for all of that.
But I mean, I find that makes
that's a positive.
Yeah.
People try to complain that that's a trope, like a bad trope, but it's not a bad trope.
Really, the main character just needs therapy, like just on some level. That's really all it is.
And that's all the glove's trying to do. The glove's listening to him. The glove's trying to love on him. The glove has no reason to love this guy.
The thing is, if it was like this for like maybe the first like hour or two or something, it's like okay, but like even still tone it down a bit, right? But like he has like an edge to him that would be okay. And then as him and this glove are like learning each other, like, and then if he starts evolving, he starts progressing and like kind of like, and maybe like he explains, like you said, like some emotional stuff about his past or dad or something, and like grows, then it's like, then you can connect with the character. But it sounds like he's just a douchebag for hours and hours and hours.
From the minute he pulls up on that really slow boat ride in the beginning, like,
I'm telling you,
this guy hates his life. Like,
this is a publisher issue, in my opinion. So if this was being created by these developers, they're new, by the way. So this is their first like real attempt at making a game, and they've been trying to work on this for like 5 years. If they had like a publisher that was, I know people knock them and stuff, but if EA was involved, they would go in and play test this game and be like, no, not releasing it in this state. Exactly. Let us get you help. Because you have great ideas, but your end result is not good.
Yeah, but Focus Interactive doesn't do that. They publish whatever, man. Like they.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They don't care. Well, yeah, and I think to add to what you said about great ideas, I think the world that they constructed is very interesting, and
the open
it's
world,
gorgeous to look at.
Once you get out in the open world,
it really
that
is impressive.
Whole Fallout vibe that I said, where you start going into houses and you just hold down RB and you start sucking in all the stuff.
I do like magnetic.
Me too.
And you're just looting and lurking and looking and all this stuff. I was like, okay, that was the one positive thing that I was like, all right, I'm gonna keep playing. I'm gonna keep playing. So that's why I am playing. I want to see if it will become like a Fallout experience for me, because I'm kind of itching for that. Where I will start to get used to the systems. I'll get better at the game. I'll get used to some of this stuff. If not, I will move on. It's not like I've never done that before. I do like to stick with my games, but this is not a game like Hogwarts. I will beat that game. It's quality. It will get beat. This game, I don't feel that where I'm like, I must finish it. I'm just playing it to see if I would want to finish it. If it goes on too long, I won't.
Yeah, I have a feeling based on the pacing, it's a surprisingly and unpleasantly long game.
Unpleasantly long.
I think if you just mainline it, it's still like an 18-hour game, which is very long. I mean, it's not long for what they're trying to do.
For a first-time developer and a first-person shooter, I would say that's long. Yeah.
Yes, but I think what they're trying to do, they bit off way too much.
Go ahead, Dan.
No, I was just saying, if they're trying to go for that Bioshock, I mean, how long are Bioshock games? They're like a good, like,
about
10 15,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but they're interesting and have good characters. Like
in
Bioshock Infinite had Troy Baker as the main character, and he was great the whole time.
And even, I don't know if people remember this, but every Bioshock game, especially Infinite, was knocked for its gameplay, which I thought was stupid. I thought they were super fun.
Yeah.
So this game is a way worse version of Bioshock. So if you have a problem with Bioshock's combat, you're not gonna like this game at all.
Yeah,
agreed. I've talked about before how first-person perspective games, unless it's just a pure shooter and done really well, I really don't like melee and first-person games. I just never enjoyed it.
I think the last one I enjoyed that had it, but I didn't use it, was Cyberpunk 2077. That was like the last time I played like a non-first-person shooter.
Yeah, I used the claws and stuff that come out of your side or whatever. Yeah. Those were cool because it was hard to miss. But most of the other stuff, no.
Yeah. I mostly did a stealth playthrough the first time I played Cyberpunk, though. So
like same with like Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, and Human Revolution. Those games, like I did all ranged and hacking and stealth and all that stuff. Right. I didn't. So anyway, it's already a stretch for me to get into a game like this. But as Derek said, early on, you realize like ammo's going to be scarce. Even though I thought the shotgun felt fine to shoot, like that was satisfying to like blow stuff up with that shotgun. It was really cool, but there wasn't a lot of ammo. And I had a feeling this was not going to, unless I played on like, is there an easy mode? I didn't notice there was an easy mode.
I don't recall.
There is. So I started on medium, but when I was getting frustrated by the bots, I was like, if I'm going to even continue this game, I have to drop it to easy.
Okay.
So I assume they do less damage because they can kill you pretty quick as they start swinging.
It's actually a frustratingly difficult game on medium because, again, keep in mind, I'm not bad at first-person shooters. It's really is the combat's just bad. It's just not done well. It doesn't feel good. The aiming's very, very difficult because it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like you said, Derek, there's so many other games that do this type of thing really well. It actually makes me want to reinstall BioShock Infinite and replay through that because I like all the BioShocks, but Infinite I loved that game. I think people are too harsh on that game. That game is amazing. Anyway, there's Atomic Heart, and we'll find out later if Derek is going to continue down that path.
It is a shame because I remember seeing that game the first time, and like when they first presented it, like visually, like it looked phenomenal.
We were all like, "Dude, this looks bonkers. This looks great."
Yeah, just had such a cool style and like premise to it, and
they've been advertising this game for over 5 years because it was actually one of them that was advertised for NVIDIA for like their ray tracing.
Oh, really?
And all that stuff. And it didn't even at launch. It doesn't even have all the stuff that it was advertising for. NVIDIA.
Of course. Whoops.
Well, it's a good looking game. It's like pretty to look at. Especially that opening sequence. I don't know if all of the game is pretty. I only played,
I think it's that typical where they created a cool looking world, but actual like characters like Granny, whatever her freaking face is, she's not pretty. Your character's not like well designed. Like I'm talking like their facial. Yeah, you can see the AA.
Yeah,
like,
that's the AA for sure. Yeah.
Gotcha. Even the bots, like the mannequin bots, they look stupid.
The Hogwarts PS5 exclusive mission, those mannequins are way more terrifying. Let me just say that.
Okay, all right. Well, let's turn the page to something much more positive that came out this week. And I think all of us are at least playing the demo or have tried the demo. At least Dan has purchased the full game. That's Octopath Traveler 2.
Yes.
Jeff and I both played through one opening chapter. We finished one opening chapter, and I think we both dabbled in maybe another one. I don't know if you did that. I dabbled.
I didn't yet.
Dabbled.
Okay. I dabbled. If you're not familiar with Octopath Traveler, the idea here is there's 8 characters to choose from with all very different backgrounds and setups and skill sets and stories. But as you progress the game, like you pick one, and as you progress, their paths all cross, and you end up having like a shared goal. I never did finish the first game, but I played it long enough to team up with, I want to say there was like 5 of us. So I collected a bunch of them at some point, and then got pulled away by playing something else. And then by the time I wanted to go back and finish it, because I did want to find out what happened, I was like, I don't remember who these people are or what's happening. So
shit.
Crap.
That is a bummer of a dense game like this, where they write this whole freaking world with all these political dynamics and stuff, and you're like, okay, I can't.
There's so much lore.
Yeah, there's a lot of lore.
It's a lore dump in every first
Apparently, this second one, they do it better at bringing the characters together and actually caring about the character story. Yeah. So,
I've read that the characters do interact way more and earlier.
Well, that's what's been tricky for me, because we were having a conversation in our chat, and I was like, I swear I played like a good 20 hours of that first one, and I don't remember the characters crossing paths at all. I don't remember it, and I don't know if it's just because it came out like 3-4 years ago. Like I don't even remember when that came.
That's a 5-year-old game now. Believe that.
So 5 years.
Crazy.
Dang.
It's crazy.
That's 2018.
5 years. Really? Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it's just my memory is betraying me there, and I'm just not remembering it. But like I started with the Beast Tamer on the demo, the Beast Master girl, which I wanted to do something a little different. I usually go like somebody with like a sword or something. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna choose her.
That's what I did. So I sense why you did one.
With the sword. Yeah.
But he's awesome because I actually just met him.
So
I started with her, and right out the gate it was like, oh, this is like Pokemon, because you basically are given like these 2 creatures to choose between to be like your companion, which was really
nice.
Cool.
Cool.
So I chose. They give you either an owl or a fox. I chose the owl.
Yes.
And then
Predator,
the fox. Then the fox like was overwhelmed by this like dark aura, and he got all like vicious, and he attacked me, and then he like ran off. So like obviously that's gonna be part of the story. But it was just like a really cool intro, because I was like, oh, this is like Pokemon. I'm choosing starting Pokemon. But yeah, like, so basically her whole thing is like she tames beasts, like any monster that you're fighting, you can tame them, you can capture them, but you can also you can convert them into like meat, like jerky or something to like.
Oh, that sounds good. I'm hungry.
Yeah, like to eat or as currency, because so she's part of the Beastlings tribe, so they're like beast people. And in their little village, like they don't use the in-game currency. It's like they trade meat for like, so you can use the beat right in the beginning there to like buy a new weapon or something. So
it's
that's
crazy.
Like
they thought of all these details for 8 different characters in different parts of the world.
It's almost like different games that they pulled together into
right.
Yeah. Like the Hikari one, I finished that chapter. That is a straight up old school samurai dynasty story. Yeah. I have a feeling if Kyle played it, he would love that. He would love this story because you're a warrior prince who has kind of become jaded by constantly being at war all the time to keep your supremacy of the land. So like you start in a war with your brother who is older. Awesome. You start in a war with your brother who's older, and he's like a more ruthless general, beating, just no mercy, killing people. He's got the Cobra Kai basically motto instilled in him. So like eventually there's a time passage, and your kingdom has become more peaceful as your king gets older, and the king, your father, starts seeing you as the proper successor for the throne. Like he's like, you were not going to go to war for petty reasons like I did. You're meant for the throne. And then like it becomes this whole political Game of Thrones thing. It's so freaking good, man. Like I was like blown away by that story. And then the stuff that you're describing about the beast handler, or whatever, that sounds awesome too. Like what the hell?
So Dan, does your owl go into battle with you then? How does that work?
So all right. So the way like her unique thing is like,
skills, right?
Yeah, so it's one of the skills. So essentially there's regular attacks, and then there's like basically you bust out whatever monster it is, and like they do unique attacks. So like she has bow attacks and axe. Yeah. But then there's certain creatures that you catch that have like the little symbol of like a sword, like the owl, for example, focuses on elemental weaknesses. So every time you unleash the owl, it basically automatically just like attacks the creature and hits whatever their elemental weakness is, which is actually really cool because it's like a guaranteed like hit on the shield, which is carried over from the original game. So for people who don't know, in the original game, you basically all the enemies have like a shield and there's like a number on it, and you have to break down that shield to stagger them. So then like they're disoriented and you get like a free hit. For one turn, and then you basically are trying to kind of like be strategic by like stacking up multiple layers of like of strength. I forget, there's like a term for it. I forget what the actual term is.
Yeah, I forget it too, but it does I guess in other games it would be called like mana, right? So like it's like you're building up so you can hit a special move, right?
Or multiple strikes.
There is a character like that in the first one. Everything you're saying, I'm like, I've played that before.
A beast tamer.
That was Hanit. She's a hunter, but she has the capture ability, and
they do call the beast wranglers hunters in the game. Yeah.
So you can actually summon them, and they have different attack types, like sword or whatever.
I don't even remember. Like I don't remember.
I'm like,
did you beat the first one?
No, I played a good amount of it, but no.
I never finished it.
I never even touched it.
These games, like that's what actually stopped me from buying the second one, because I own the first one, but they're both like 80-hour games. Like I'm not talking about main and side stuff. If you do that, you're getting over 100 hours, but they're like anywhere from 60 to 80 hours, and I'm like, no,
but like
all these games. Nope.
But so far with this one, I like the pacing.
Out stories. Yeah, it's gonna be long.
Yeah, I like the pacing of this one because at least for me, the way I started it is I started with the Beast Tamer. I got off of the island, so I took a boat to like another town, and like immediately I met the apothecary character.
Nice.
And she has the cliche.
That's like the magic character, right?
No, so the healer. She does like
the healer. Okay.
Yeah, she like heals and then does medicines, like herbs and medicine. Like she's cool. So apothecary stuff.
Are you playing on Switch or PS5?
On PS5.
Okay. I was just curious.
So she has the whole typical amnesia thing, right? So we've all seen the amnesia thing. But I
did see that in the backstory of like she's got this feeling like she doesn't know what it is. She's forgetting something important.
Yeah. So she knows how to do all of the apothecary stuff, but like she doesn't remember what her name is, or actually there was something on her that said what her name was, but she couldn't remember her name, like what her life was. Like she doesn't know, but she has the ability to still like do all of the apothecary stuff. So she's like confused. She's like, why do I know how to do this, but I don't know what happened to me, what brought me here. But there's this underlying thing of like there's this like posse of apothecaries that potentially are doing really like terrible things to like to some other like island off to the east or something, and like there might be a connection with her to that, because like when she gets to the town, people like see her, they're like murmuring to each other, and they like walk away from, they're like running away from her. So there's kind of like a little bit of that, which is cool, because it's not just simply she has amnesia and then she's like, I'm going on a journey. It's like there's this whole thing where she might be attached to apparently a scummy like group of like apothecaries, so that's actually kind of cool. So I did that storyline. So I did her first chapter, and that was really cool. I helped that town because it was suddenly like hit with like this like disease that everybody was like passing out and having a fever, and like they were all getting sick. And then I found the samurai guy. So I'm in the middle of his thing right now.
His first chapter.
Because then it gave you the option to go back and see his first chapter, right?
Yeah. So every time you meet them, it gives you the option. They're like, do you want to do their intro or their chapter, or do you want to skip it and you can do it later?
That's how the first game.
I discovered this through talking with Tim, but the way the demo works is you can finish the first chapter of every single character, but that does mean you have to create a new save for every single character. So you can finish chapter 1 of a certain character, and then the game will tell you that's all you get in the demo, so you might as well just stop here. And you're not going to meet any other characters organically in the story. So yeah, that's kind of a bummer, but I love the first chapter so much of the samurai dude that I'm just going to buy the game. I'm just going to buy the game and see it. You know, it's just so good.
And it'll be interesting from you. So Tim, which one did you start with? Sorry.
I started with the merchant Partitio.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, so I'll be curious.
I'll tell you about his in a second.
I'm curious to see how soon you guys will start meeting some of the other cast members. But that's why I'm liking the pacing.
Me too. I mean, so far I've only done one chapter, but yes, me too. At least as far as it's not too long, you get to the boss fight pretty quickly, and then you're on your way out to discover the world.
All of them have some motivation to go out into the world.
Yeah, they do.
Someone, whatever.
And I'm not going to spoil what happened with Hikari, but like it's a great reason. The other story that looked really intriguing to me was the scholar who is accused of murdering, I think, his wife.
Oh, the one on the island or whatever?
Yes. Up in he's stuck in jail, and he's thinking of nothing but revenge against the guy that killed his wife.
I think that's Oswald, right?
I think so. I don't remember the name.
That was the one that I was like,
dude, I gotta try that one. But then I saw the samurai, and he's more of a warrior, and I was like, that's my type of gameplay. So I gotta try that first.
So yeah, for me, it's like I think it is a lot of like me not remembering, but like I'm liking. I'm only 8 hours in, but like I'm liking this one.
That's far though.
Yeah, but and that's what I mean. Like I'm liking the pacing because I'm already in the middle of the third character. Like I'm forming my party already. Yep. It does feel more connected, which is what the reviews were saying. So I liked it because that was my issue with the first one. I felt like you have all these characters, but they're not intertwined in this way of like, okay, so cool. They have their separate stories, but eventually they come together to defeat like a big evil or something, you know, but like still having their separate things going on. This one feels like maybe it is leaning more in that direction. We'll see by the end of it. I do want to try to.
It seems like yes, there's going to be like a big overlying big evil entity or whatever. They got to help fight together. But I feel like they're all going to help each other with their own journeys as well, like along the way, which is awesome. Because Hikari's story, especially,
we should just go halves on this game on PS5.
Yeah, but it's such a good handheld game, man.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I got it on. I got it on Switch myself for the demo.
But yeah, that's what I want out of this game. Like I like that they have separate stories, so you're getting like this kind of like this extra like layer of like knowing these characters. But I want and again by the end of this, I'm curious to see how connected it will be. If it's not as connected quite how I personally want it, like I'm wondering then when we get to the third one, like I really want it to be like. It is like any other RPG where like the party like they're growing together and like kind of like
Fire Emblem Engage. I played like 2 hours of it and my party's got like 11 people. It's not even like that far in the game.
It's so many people.
You know,
they give so many people right out of the gate, right?
They're
like,
here's a we talked about it before where like if you play it normally how you're supposed
right, but they want you to kill people off.
You're gonna kill people off. Now I have like because I don't kill anybody off. I have like 50 people, and I'm like I don't even know who to choose from.
Crazy.
I don't even know who's good. I don't remember you guys anymore.
But like so like one of the things that I'm kind of like I don't think it is gonna quite go all the way like how I would like it is like so when I met the apothecary chick. My character who like is voice acted like the Beast Tamer girl like has a personality. She's voice acted. When I met her, she was talking to me, the Beast Tamer girl, but I wasn't responding. like, so she was just talking to me, but then still saying things to me as if I was responding, but there was no dialogue. Like suddenly I became a silent protagonist as the Beast Tamer girl, and she was talking to me. So that I was put off by that. I was like, why am I suddenly just not saying anything? Why am I acting like suddenly I'm not a person?
It's
and
like
I'm
their
just
way of pacing who's going to meet who at a certain point. Like the only way we can do that is if we make one of the characters silent, because maybe another character is going to meet that person sooner or later in the game. That's really bizarre.
I mean, I think because like then you're having,
or it's just a glitch. Who knows?
No, because I mean then I met the samurai dude, and it was the same thing. She didn't say anything.
Well, that's because he was mansplaining her.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he was just mansplaining his situation.
Actually, I jumped into the situation to help him, and he thanked me. So.
We call that samurai splaining. It's fine.
Samurai splaining.
But yeah,
that's weird because so I'm playing as Particio, who's this merchant, and he is very talkative. He talks a little too much. Like that. His story. His story is very charming because it's like this. It's a Western. I'm like, what? How is there also a Western world in this world of samurais and woodland people? Whatever.
Well, they said one of their goals was to make it a little more modern than the last game. So I mean, that's the approach.
It is straight up like Arizona or Nevada, maybe Southern California back in like the 1800s. That's how it looks.
That's cool.
That's very much how it looks. And so the idea is that you and your dad, and then his business partner, you're a little kid. It kind of does like 16 years ago, and you're a little kid, and you're out there, and this is desolate landscape. You bought this area because you heard there's silver, and silver is going to be the age of silver is going to start, and so silver is going to be the currency for everyone across the whole land. And so
cool.
That's how it starts. So you start building this town. It jumps to 8 years later. So now you're a teenager, and the town is thriving, and you're kind of like a leader already, working alongside your dad. Then some bad stuff happens. There's an evil landowner who kind of screws you guys over, and the town starts to fall apart. It goes to 8 years later. Now you're an adult, and that's where you get to do more fighting and kind of that, and learn your skills. Your skills as this merchant is you can hire people. I'm not sure if every character can do this, but when you go up and talk to people,
I have someone hired, like following me around.
On Hikari, Hikari's has two options. You can either duel people or blackmail them.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Blackmail.
Yeah. So, because I felt like hiring was something you could do with most of the characters in the first one. I thought so, but anyway, I'm
sorry, not blackmail, bribe. You can just pay them.
Bribe. Okay.
Give me information.
So yeah, you can like see their stats to see what their attacks will be, and you can have them follow you. But they're only summonable for like 8 attacks or something.
Yeah. So.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can do that with the.
You're like, I gotta go. I gotta piss.
But then he does have a special skill mid battle where you can sacrifice some money to just summon in someone, like it's called hired help. You can just hire someone to fight for you. That's the idea. The merchant is basically like you're all about wheeling and dealing, right? That's your whole deal.
It's very unique. I like that. Yeah.
But he's very talkative. It's very kind of like hokey Southern accents. Like, all right, Paul, let's build up this town. Like, it really is that. Like, it's
Japanese people's like impressions.
But you know what's
of
funny is his
so
name is
funny to me. It's so funny.
Particio sounds like the most Italian name I've ever heard.
Hey, Particio. Sound like a Western.
I sell you the medicine or whatever themselves.
I kind of wish they talked like that.
I make it the mega box.
Yeah.
But he's very like. He's overly sincere and overly earnest, and so is his dad. They're like so well-intentioned and kind.
They have good
and,
intentions in these roles.
They're just so friendly and like so much. Like, we gotta save our town, Paul. Like it's very that for that story, and it totally works. Like it's not like I played it and I was like, oh boy, like. Yeah, I thought it worked, but it is very kind of cheesy. And I remember the first game had 1 or 2 storylines like that, but then on the other side. I tried Throne, the thief, and she's got a very dark story.
Cool.
It's a heist gone wrong, and one of their friends has already died, and they're on the run. Like it starts off crazy right out of the gate.
That was the third person in line I wanted to try.
That's a
immediately.
Cool one. Yeah. I think you'll like that one a lot. I didn't get to the end of that one yet, but I do plan on continuing.
The tones are quite varied. It seems
very different.
Yeah.
And
some more grounded than others.
The first game there was some kind of like cheesy stuff, and then there's some that's real heavy. Like there's one where you're you're pretty much a geisha or some kind of dancer, but you're in what appears to be, and they don't really say it, but they're strongly hinting that this is some sort of brothel-like
I think I remember that one.
And you are being just horrifically abused and exploited by this dude, and so are all these other girls, and you finally get a chance to fight him at the end of that chapter, and it's so satisfying because it's just like you're kind of mad for them by the end.
Yeah, definitely. And there's actually the boss that you end up fighting in the first chapter for Hikari was like, was somebody that I didn't even want to fight, because in the flashback in the very beginning, you're buddies and stuff, and you have a great rapport. And then that's your first boss, and it's like, no, this guy was so cool.
That's devastating.
I know, but it was. I love that the writing was able to nail the tragedy of all that stuff that happened. So for somebody like me that never played the first game, this game is kind of blowing my mind. Even though my understanding of it is more of the same, but obviously there's some slight improvements and changes.
It's improved. They've.
I think it looks a lot better, and it already looked really good. Like it
looks great.
Looked good, but this one looks even better.
I love the look of this game. It's so fantastic. It's like and like the buildings, you go in and out of them, and it feels like a diorama. Like
it's
so cool, dude.
Pixelated. What is it called? 2.5D or something like that? When it's like kind of like
HD 2D.
That. Yeah, because there's other games that do this too, but this is I just love it, dude.
I think Octopath was really the first. I think Octopath was actually the first one,
and then there's the term HD 2D.
Yeah. And then they Square also did it with was it Live Alive?
Yes,
that was theirs as well.
The demo of that
one. And there's a demo of another game we'll talk about in this episode that also uses that kind of 2D, 3D pixelated art.
Cool.
That's really, really neat. But yeah, I'm really liking this. Dan, I don't know if you're noticing specific differences. I feel like it plays exactly like the first one. Just like you said, it's better. Like they seem to have more balance, and it's still the same idea of all characters have some kind of shield that has a certain weakness, and as you fight against enemy types, those weaknesses will kind of be saved, and you'll always know when you fight them again, like, oh, they're weak to axes or they're weak to spears.
Yeah, it won't be a question mark every single time.
So, and then you can it helps with the strategy, because like when you're fighting a boss, you've got the boss character there. He might have two sidekicks. Like in my boss fight, there are two sidekicks you have to take out.
I had that too. Yeah.
And so you start to kind of figure, okay, they're going to go in 2 turns. I better get them broken so I can stun them for this next turn, so I can limit how many hits I take. So that same strategy is at play. This is not new. The first game did this, but it's not bad either. It's one of those things where it's like, hey, it's a
fun system.
I almost look at it as, hey, they already have a really cool combat system and character setup screen, and the way you can upgrade and gear and all that. It's very, very much the same.
Yeah.
But now it's 8 new stories, and it's a totally new world. I just looked it up just to be sure, but it's a totally different land. Like it's not even the same.
It's like Final Fantasy, right? It's like the idea is being carried over into a sequel. There are themes and things carrying over, right? But like it's a different game. So.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's
totally
just
different
like that
world.
In Fire Emblem, like totally different world, totally different stories. No, not really connected.
The first one was the land of Orstera, and this one is the land of Solistia. So they're just totally different.
And that's why I was like, okay, I'll try the demo this time.
Honestly,
I gotta thank Midnight Suns and like the South Park games for
giving you some turn-based love.
I was gonna say,
you know what? I think I messed up by not playing turn-based games my whole life.
You gotta just get the right ones. It's just a matter of getting the right ones.
It really is.
Instead of this making me, because I do want to play more of it. The characters are interesting. It actually makes me want to just reinstall the first one and just experience that full game and get all those, and because I already own it, and I'm like, I have probably 4 games that I've purchased recently that I still haven't started yet. So I'm like, I don't think I can.
I think that's a good and bad problem.
The only reason I didn't buy it, I knew I wouldn't play it. Like I would start it and then talk about it on the show, but I was like, I'm not gonna play it.
So I think the 3-hour demo is great. You get a good feel for what the game is like, a couple of the stories if you're curious. But I think I'm gonna hold off buying the full thing. But if you're interested in it, it is. I can tell you, even from the demo, it's completely worth your money. It's a very much worthwhile.
We didn't even, and we did in the chat, of course, but like the music, dude, like,
oh my god, dude,
like, oh my god, even just the regular battle theme, right?
I was actually gonna say before that, not even the battle stuff. When you're just in the menu selecting your first character, I was just listening to the music going, this is amazing. That's it.
There's also a theme in there, and I don't know if it's like right in the beginning of each chapter when something's happening, but there's I don't know, because I'm trying to remember to like the Samurai one if they played the song too, but there's this other song that like kicked in like when I was the Beast Girl and it like flashed forward and I was chasing after this like giant lizard monster, and it's just freaking going, and I'm like, oh, this music is so good. And
I wonder if it changes based on the setting that you're in, because the Samurai one used a lot of that Asian instrument that sounds like meow. It sounds like that or whatever. It used a lot of that, and I'm wondering if it changes the further out I go.
We didn't even mention the night and day mechanic. There's that too.
There is.
So that is new. That's a new.
Oh, it is.
band.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the music's different at night. It's actually more serene and kind of chill. Like I actually really like the night theme. The night theme
the
is
enemies are stronger.
Yeah,
well, and the characters you talk to can be different. Like there's different paths that you can or can't access night or day, and NPCs. So, and there's also, I forgot to mention too, there is a latent power ability. Every character has a latent power that you can activate.
That's
so,
what
like,
it is that I was thinking of that Dan was describing. But
yeah, it's just like a little meter that
else.
fills up like over as you take damage, give damage. It's pretty standard meter that you're probably used to seeing. But for the merchant, at least, I don't know if he'll get different latent powers over time to swap out. But his power that he has at the beginning, is where you can.
He throws money at them. No, I'm just kidding.
That'd be great. No, or if he could do like that move from the old Robin Hood cartoon where he throws one coin in so hard he gets all the other coins out and swipes them. You guys ever seen that?
I don't remember that at all.
It's a classic. But anyway, no, his power is that he'll completely activate his boost meter. So like every time you don't use it, you build up one more boost point. You can store up to 5, and you can use those to do double, triple, quadruple hits. You guys have used that before. Little right shoulder button. And so that, which by the way, once you learn like, hey, I'm going to break this character and then save up another boost, and then I'll hit him with like a triple attack while he's weak. So
very satisfying when you do that.
Very satisfying.
I didn't do it in the second one because I haven't played it, but the first one.
And you can boost your special attacks, which is awesome. So if you have some super special, like rain of arrows attack or something, you can boost all of that.
Just so everybody knows who's listening, you can get this game on Steam for $48 through CD Keys.
I saw that.
And it is Steam Deck verified. So
that's great too.
Steam Deck verified.
No.
Steam Deck verified.
Now I might have to change. Oh no. Dang it. I played through a whole chapter. Damn it. At least it was an hour. At least it was an hour. That's okay.
It does play well on the Switch too. I can confirm that, but I'm assuming it's great on the Steam Deck and on Steam. But yeah, great game. Like really good.
I'm very much enjoying it. I do really want to try to stick it out this time because I'm curious to see like again how everything comes together as you progress much further and like what is even like the end game like.
Anything coming out soon that's could
Resident Evil. Resident Evil's the only thing.
That's late March, so you got
right. So I have like at least like a month, a solid like month-ish here to try to finish.
I got like a few weeks before.
I've got like 5 days.
WWE.
We'll get into what's coming out in March here in a minute. Just wanted to briefly touch on Sons of the Forest, which is out on Steam. It's a sequel to the game The Forest, which was kind of like a horror survival game. It's a first-person game. I already said how it's not my favorite. It's not. When you do at least melee combat from first-person perspective. But this one's pretty cool. I like it so far. I just played the opening of it today, so I'm not that far into it. But it is a survival game. It's very much like things go horribly at the beginning for whatever it is you're trying to do, and now you're kind of stuck in the middle of nowhere. And it is random because it's an early access. It's buggy. So I did the first time I was on like this side of this mountain. It was very snowy, and we had to dig through this. It actually looked pretty decent. Again, it's a AA style game. It's $30. Yeah. But it is. But sometimes the visuals do look pretty good. But so then anyway, I got stuck where I couldn't put away something into my pack, so I was stuck holding an object, and it just kind of glitched. And I looked it up, and people were saying, "Yep, this is one of the early access glitches." They've got a huge patch coming out, I guess, for their first early access patch to fix a lot of that.
Why do we buy incomplete games?
I'm like, it literally says early access on it. So,
I'm still mad.
So instead of that, I was just like, I'm just going to try it one more time. So I restarted it, and this time they dropped me in this forest right by this little stream. A totally different setting. Everything's green and birds.
Oh, they have forests in the game?
That's so cool. It's in the forest game, so it is definitely random and procedurally generated how they get things set up for you. So you're crash landed out of this helicopter. There's one other guy who's there who in the crash, because of the impact, he's got blood coming out of both his ears. He can't hear you. So you write notes to give him commands like, go collect sticks and bring them to me, or pile them here, or go find some fish for us to eat. Like you give him orders and show it to him on a note, and he'll kind of nod to you and run off and go do it for a while. So like you have a helper right away, which is kind of nice in a game like this. So it's okay so far. If you like survival games, give it a look. If you don't, why bother? But it is also a horror game. Like at nighttime, bad things can happen, and you can get overrun by some creepy crawlies out there. So there you go. Sons of the Forest. It's pretty cool. If you're into that kind of thing. Same thing with Kirby's Return to Dream Land Deluxe. If you are a Kirby fan, then you're going to love this game. If you hate Kirby, especially like the side-scrolling platformers, if you're like, those aren't my thing, they're too easy, too whatever, the way you float, that's exactly what this is. It's a Kirby game, and I think it's super charming and adorable and fun, but it's not my favorite. Right. But I did find the demo to be pretty fun. I played through 2 levels, and then I went to this little like they have like this carnival park thing you can go to, where you can unlock these different masks to wear, and you can do, I think there's like 10 mini games. They're kind of Mario Party style mini games, hit the target or whatever, or like it'll go to like this isometric little like party game view where there's 4 players or computer players, and you're shooting these little guns at each other, and the last man standing wins. It's just little mini games, like Mario Party style.
I didn't know that it had that. I totally didn't explore that part, but I did do the same thing as you. I played the first couple levels, and I was like, oh, this is just old school Kirby. It's not Forgotten Land. Trying to do something new. Yeah. It's still fun, but it's like you're saying, it's not like I'm going to drop everything to keep playing this. It's fun.
Which is weird. At the carnival, you actually do walk around or kind of float around in a 3D space, which I was like, whoa, back to 3D for a second. But that's just for like exploring that area.
We established this was just a re-release of the Wii game, right?
It's a remake.
It's a full blown remake.
It's a full remake. Okay.
Of the Wii game. Yeah. Okay. They've added a ton of content to it, including like.
And it looks good too. It does look pretty good.
Looks good. Yep. Yeah. Again, it's Kirby though, so everything's like pretty easy. It's not very difficult, but some of the powers you get are cool. And there's an optional first boss on that first level. If you go through like this tear that you create, you can kind of float through it and go fight this boss.
Yeah, I like that. That's fun.
That's fun.
You collect a couple gears or whatever that are one of those collectibles that you need each level or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. Because Kirby's going to become one of the Gears. He's going to become Marcus, and it's Gears of War. This is the prequel to Gears of War.
Yeah.
Could you imagine
the long-term storytelling involved here?
That'd be the crossover no one wanted, but everyone loves.
That's exactly what I want.
Kirby to Gears. So I think it's great. There's a demo, so go try it out. Again, that's about as much as I play of most Kirby games. I'm like, oh, that's cute, and then I move on to other stuff because I think it's like with Forgotten Lands. I ended up playing a lot of it because of the multiplayer aspect, and my son wanted it, so he got it, and then I played multiplayer with him. It was fun, but like I wouldn't put that game up super high on any list just because that's not my personal favorite style game.
See, Kirby, that version of Kirby is one of my favorite types of games. Like,
it was good. It was really good.
Standard Kirby, like Dream Land.
I like the demo of that one.
It's good, but it's not my favorite for sure.
Yeah, this is
I
definitely.
still want to buy it. I'm still waiting for a deal. I'm like, come on. I know Nintendo, like they slack on giving deals, but Kirby's one of them. I know they'll do, and I'm like, come
Forgotten Land.
Drop it to 40. Come on, I'll buy it.
It's almost a year that one's been out now, right? It came out last spring, I think.
For a while, yeah.
So there you go. And Kyle's not here, but Like a Dragon Ishin, I'm pretty sure he wrapped up that game.
He says he was about ready to beat it.
Yeah, it sounds like he was really close, but I know he beat Fire Emblem Engage for sure. Okay. I know he finished that.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, he's got to be almost done with Like a Dragon Ishin because.
So technically, we did talk about it last week, so you can check out last week's show. We did a bit of a dive into that.
And I didn't play any more since last week, so yeah, we can just breeze past it. It's not what I want to sink my teeth into right now for whatever reason. I don't know.
Yeah, the main character's too likable, not much of a jerk like Atomic Heart.
So I know. I need more. Why didn't you tell me that before?
Anything else new?
Yeah, Redemption Reapers is a new release.
What's that about?
I played. So that's another. It's kind of like basically a mature Fire Emblem game. So it's not. You don't have the over the top anime style characters. You have more of like a darker. I get like a. You guys are gonna love it, a Dragon Age vibe. Everything's Dragon Age.
Well, did you say Dragon Age?
They just need to open up the world and let me explore like Dragon Age.
Hey, hold on. So the new Star Wars game, Derek, I don't know if you're aware. They listen to us. They listen to us. So
these guys mocked us, but the developers actually listened to our show.
You deserve it.
Dude, why didn't we open this game up?
No, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do this. They
Dan's raising his hand. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Dan, your hand's still raised.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah. Like Dwight in that one episode when he get the when he
has the concussion.
Concussion. Yeah.
So anyways, Redemption Reapers it's definitely darker tone. I'm not far enough in to see like what the big differences in gameplay could be from like Fire Emblem. The early chapters are very basic, like, hey, move here, strike the character. But it does have some pretty cool like combat and upgrading and leveling up. I also am impressed with, so far, all the characters I've met, the voice acting has been good. Not great, but good. Like nobody has been like, okay, really, dude, shut up. And they're darker characters, so there is a lot of like there's one character, he's like basically gung ho to kill everybody, where there's another character who's like, hey, why don't we make a smarter choice and not like run in and try to kill everybody? Why don't we focus on this one enemy or something like that to destroy him and be more strategic? So there's a lot of you actually make the choices. I don't know right now if it matters, but like you can side with, yeah, let's go in and kill everybody, or yeah, let's just focus on the boss. And that mission, they gave me that choice right before the mission. That's the one I'm on. And they did say that the mission was to just take out the boss. So I think that would be pretty cool if you have throughout this campaign, if it's like basically choice driven on like how you accomplish the task. I think that could be pretty cool. But overall, I think it's good. My only negative is I think I have two negatives. One, I think it's overpriced. I think $50. I understand I pay $60 for Fire Emblem, but that is an established franchise. We know it's good. We know what we're getting. This is only $10 cheaper. And the other big reason I don't like it, I really wish I didn't buy it on PS5. I wish I would have bought it on Switch. Is I didn't realize that all platforms are limited to 1080p. So no matter what you're playing on, the most you can get is 1080p. So I would
Redemption Reapers is on Switch too?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just on PC and PS5. Okay.
Nope, it's Switch, PC, and Nice. It's really a PS4 game.
PS4.
So
okay.
That was another reason I was a little hesitant to buy it on PS5. The only reason why is because I had $20 in rewards, so I used that. So I only paid $30 for it, and I'm totally fine with paying the $30. But overall, I think it's a good game. It has my interest because I love Fire Emblem, and I was like, I would absolutely love like a more mature. This is when I say mature, like there's blood and guts as you're like slicing these guys. This isn't just like more mature tone. Because there's other JRPGs that I've played that have had mature tones, but this is actual mature.
It looks like it has like a gothic vibe to it, right? Almost
very gothic. Very
kind of
like
a dark gothic vibe. Yeah.
All right.
But pretty cool so far.
That's one I do want to try. But since you got it on PS5, I could get on and play it. I want to give it a whirl. See how I like it. I did also use the Nintendo vouchers to buy Fire Emblem Engage, which I haven't started yet, but also I did get Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Oh boy.
I'm like, look at all these humongous RPGs that I am setting myself up for. What am I doing?
You're totally going to finish them all. You're going to finish them all.
What am I doing? Anyway, I just got excited. You know, the voucher program's like, ooh, save $10 per game. Like, it's not that much, but it feels like a lot. I don't know.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, it is. Well, I guess
it helps.
If you're pre-ordering games, it's totally
it's
nice
only
discount.
worth it if you're gonna buy it anyway. If you're like, hey, I'm gonna buy this anyway. But anyway, whatever. All right, before we get into our preview for March video games, let's touch base real quick on how we're feeling about The Last of Us TV show, TV series. We're on up to episode 6 now. Episode 7 is gonna air this weekend. What'd you guys think about episode 6? We'll keep it spoiler-free-ish, like for the most part.
I liked it. I'm trying to remember what it was.
So this is when he finds the town and him and Tommy reunite.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked it because they definitely changed it again compared to the game. They actually, without spoiling it, made it more look like The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
Which is pretty freaking cool because that was a cool town.
Looked
so I
just like it, dude. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
They mirrored it for sure.
It was so cozy. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah. So I thought it was overall a good show. I haven't disliked one episode, honestly. Right. I feel like none of the changes have been, for me personally, like, okay, this is stupid. I mean, episode 3, and it has nothing to do with like the gay romantic part. Like, I have no interest in watching that type of stuff, but I just found that episode to be more boring for my like. But I understood why they made it that way, and it kind of set up episode 4 better. So that's the only episode that I've been like, I would never rewatch that. But like every episode has been very well done, and this one was done very well. And all the changes, I didn't have any problems with them. I thought they were.
They're kind of streamlining some things for the future, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like they even have Ellie have a across the room connection with a very important character for later. Like little things like that I'm like, I like how they're doing this.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of part 2 touches in this episode that I thought were pretty cool, like little Easter eggs. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
How about the one scene in that the bedroom that Ellie's staying in, and then her and Joel? It's pretty much almost frame for frame from the game, as he's trying to tell her why they have to go their separate ways.
Yeah,
and,
they wore that material super well. They both acted their asses off. Like, that felt good. That
scene was powerful in the game, and then, like we've already said about every episode, boy, that hit even harder in the show, even though it already had hit hard.
I gotta say, this girl, I forgot her name, playing Ellie, is really, really good. I wasn't like anti her, but I wasn't like, that's who I would have picked.
We haven't really seen her in anything before.
No,
like,
besides Game of Thrones, which I thought she was fine, but she's rarely in it. It was just more she was popular because how she acted in the show, like how she was standing up to all these dumb men.
Right.
MCU. But this episode, there was a few things that she said, and she's been good in every episode. Like, I absolutely love when she reads the jokes and the way she starts laughing before she can get them out and stuff like that. But this episode, even like the serious tone stuff, she nailed it. The emotions, the anger she had, even the teenage, like, pitch a fit, like, I'm not getting it my way type thing. She nails all of it.
Yeah.
And I just think she was the perfect selection for this character.
But
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna throw out there, like, clearly, like, whoever is directing these episodes, and then obviously Neil Druckmann being very intrinsically tied to it, is really helping. But like, she's obviously just an excellent actress herself, so it's just they're doing a really good job. Like,
I love that they were able to actually explore, because it's a TV medium, they were able to actually explore Joel having PTSD, like in a very meaningful way, multiple times through the episode. Because that's not something you can really live through in a game and have it be not the way that they did it in the show, and have it be like an enjoyable gaming experience, especially as he's going through bodies of people for hours in the game. You know, like, he's murdering humans and infected alike for so long in the game that there's no way you could logically put in a PTSD episode of any kind.
Yeah, this looming fear of, like, I'm getting closer and closer with essentially my new daughter figure in my life. And I'm going to fail her like I failed my daughter, like I failed Tess, and I'm going to fail her too. And he just has this anxiety panic attack that keeps kicking in. And I can relate to that, man. Anxiety is a real thing, and it's tough. And so I love the way that they're handling that too. I'm with you. That's an addition that makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't remember his heart-to-heart with Tommy in the game at all, but like added like just so much to Joel's depth. And Pedro was asked to do a lot in the episode, and he delivered big time.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I did like the beginning too, how it was this old grumpy couple that's out in the middle of nowhere, and I thought that was so funny.
I thought they were cute and funny.
Yeah.
I was like,
what was it? What is it? You made him breakfast or something? Like, he was like, you made him breakfast? She's like, well, he had a gun.
The humor just lands for me in unexpected ways in the show, where like there's a part where Tommy explains that he's getting married to or pregnant. Sorry, they're expecting a child. Him and Maria, right? I think that's her name. And the way Joel says "congrats" had me laughing so hard. Like, it's just the little things in the show that makes me laugh.
Or when he says, "I think I'll be a good dad," he's like, "Well, we'll find out."
Yeah.
Sick burn, bro.
That's what I like about him. Like, honestly, that's how I am in real life. Like, that's how I react. If I don't really feel something, you can't get like a fake response from me. I'll just be like, Well, I guess. Okay.
All right.
Like that's exactly how he is. I'm like, I
Pedro, Pascal has good comedic timing.
He does.
Very much so. Yeah. Even with a character that's not necessarily considered comedic, like it's just the way he's reading the material on the page, and
I just love that couple at the beginning. He's like, "Why didn't you shoot him?" She goes, "The gun was way over there."
She's just sitting in the same seat.
She's just like sitting in her seat. She's like,
she's
the
just slowly rocking. It's just totally chill. Totally.
I've seen that actor before, the guy who plays her husband. Oh, yeah. I've seen him before. He's very good at being like deadpan and dry and slow talking. Yeah, he's great. That was just a perfect addition altogether. That was so good.
And apparently, I mean, this show should be so humiliated because they had a shot that included camera crew going over the bridge. We saw that too.
Yeah, as I told you guys in the chat, I'm never watching the show again now. You can't
never watching it again.
Mistakes.
It's funny. I of course didn't notice that at all.
Me neither.
I don't.
What happened?
So like in that overall shot, which is a really well shot, it was beautiful. Them crossing that snowy bridge. Yeah. And if you, as I did the pan out from overhead, it looked like a drone shot. Probably you could see some of the cast and crew down along the tree line. Like if you zoom in, you can see that's cast and crew standing there. So it was
because you can see the tent, you can see the camera tent or whatever. Yeah. Like you can tell.
You can just tell it's people with gear.
But you have to like pause it and zoom in and like
it's down in the corner.
Analyze.
I may have saw them.
It's not. Listen, it's not as egregious as the Starbucks cup on the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that was
table.
so obvious for multiple shots, and you're like, "What the hell are they doing?"
Starbucks in Westeros. I mean, I know they're everywhere, but wow.
My immersion is broken.
Yeah.
Also, just Joel and Ellie just shooting the shit. It's just some of my favorite stuff that they had in the game, and they've added even more of it in the show. That, like her just wanting to know what the world was like before the infection hit or whatever, and the way she was like kind of obsessed with the word contractor and stuff like that. It's like little things in their interactions that just, even though it's like a slower episode, quote unquote.
I think we talked about this in our chat. Good. Like, hey, I wonder how they're gonna do like the major game moments. And I thought they shortened the university sequence in a really smart way that still made that work. I thought visually they just nailed it. I was like, yes, that's how it looks, how I remember it. Like, wow, that was great. Even the monkeys. I was like, man, this is really cool. And then they have the big conflict. Like in the game, of course, there's like that big trap that explodes and you have to like work your way through the buildings and you fall down, there's infected underneath. Like there's a whole bunch of sequences that happen until you eventually come across these bandits and you have the big fight. This just kind of got right to the punch because again, like the creators have talked about, like in a show you can't just have all the nonstop action. You have to develop the characters and like the action needs to hit hard and fast, and then you got to get back to the people. So I thought they did a good job of setting up what is clearly going to be a really interesting, I assume it's going to be a time jump to episode 8. And so now we're going to have a flashback with episode 7.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
the episode title is Left Behind. So
episode 8 will pick up as
DLC.
As things, as the fallout for episode 6.
Episode 8 is called hold on. Let me look it up. The title is called What We Know is something.
Will we meet David in episode 8?
Yes. Because that's what I was able to gather from. Okay, when we are in need, I think is that's the name of it. And apparently there's like a banner in the game where it says when we are in need, blah 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 blah. It's like an expression that the David's group would say. So this is that's.
But what I love about that,
Joel Baker's going to show up and stuff, or not Joel Baker. Troy Baker's going to show up.
Troy Baker. What I love about
combine the two.
What I love about the game too is that's your first chance, like you control Ellie during that whole sequence.
Yeah.
And then also like she has to have a confrontation with another adult survivor of all this stuff, and she has to figure out like how far do I trust, like will they manipulate me? Like in the game you feel that she's growing here. Like she doesn't have Joel to lean on for any of this. He can't tell her like they're lying, let's get out of here. He can't, like she had that through all the other sequences.
Because he's been her read on Civilization.
On all of it.
Through all of it. She's actually been really sheltered.
Now she's got to navigate it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes that. I'm very excited. I think the pacing's been perfect. I can now totally see how then it's going to culminate in episode 9. Like it's starting to all.
Oh my god, dude.
I do want to.
People are going to lose it over episode 9.
The show on the fact that because there is less violence and there's more of a journey feel. Like in this episode, there was a lot of walking and talking, and like Jeff was saying, that's not easy to write in and make it interesting, especially for somebody who's like played the game 7 times. Like, that's not why I was playing the game. I was playing the game because it was fun to play. So you're taking out what was fun for me and you're replacing it with a lot of yapping, but it was actually like interested back and forth, like interesting topics. They cover all ranges. They cover stuff that's humorous, more serious, informational. Like, they fill it with like good stuff where it doesn't feel like it's just an information dump. Like, hey guys, she now knows all this stuff. She's
I love the conversation about contractors, and when he's explaining football to her, like he talks about like, oh, everyone loves contractors, and she goes, cool, and he kind of makes this face, and this, I love it, man. I love
the communist exchange was really funny to me too.
Communist, yeah.
I wouldn't read. There are several Reddit threads reading into that comment. I wouldn't bother.
I thought it was just funny, and then like
a funny throwaway for two rednecks that don't know anything about communism. Like,
Tommy realizes for a second, like, oh, we are communists.
Like, they both look at each other like he literally stopped in his tracks and went, what? Like, it just kind of blew his mind. Such a funny exchange.
Yeah, they do a good job with those, just like in the game where like there's the random conversations where you'd have to hit like circle or whatever it was to initiate with Ellie. Like even in episode, I think it was 4, where like she's asking like I think she's asking him what he thinks like how everything happened or whatever, and he's talking about like the grain and how grain was like a really big thing when like civilization was still there, and how like something probably got into that, and then it just started, they transported all of those goods throughout the world and everything just spread and they couldn't do anything about it. Like,
there are scenes from the opening there are scenes in the beginning, the premiere episode is what I was trying to think of to say, where you see, I think when what's Joel's daughter's name? Sarah. So when she's going to visit somebody's house, I think her neighbor or something, and she offers her bread or something, and she says no. But you already see that the girl and the old lady in the wheelchair is already starting to because she had some already. So that lends credence to like the grain theory,
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Like,
also, I gotta say, I wasn't a huge fan of the actress that was cast as Maria, and she's from True Blood. She played like the second lead character in True Blood. She was the best friend of Anna Paquin or whatever. And she annoyed the hell out of me in that, but she was so good in this role. Like, so yeah, I got props to them in the casting department. They're continuing to knock it out of the park.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Neil Druckmann kind of knows a little bit about Last of Us. So.
He might know something about storytelling. I don't know. Verdict's still out.
Yeah, he's pretty good at it, I guess.
They got the director of somebody that won an Academy Award to do episode 6. That's pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, episode 6, I actually felt right away some of the shots they had, some of the cinematography was just gorgeous. Everything from like the hunter bringing stuff back to the cabin to when they zoomed in on Joel and Ellie's feet walking while they were talking about just non-important stuff about like the world.
Was this the episode where there's a shot of them riding on horseback and it's sunset and it's just their silhouettes? Such a great
little
shot.
bit of Lord of the Rings, silhouettes going across.
Yeah.
So I thought it was just beautifully shot as well. And then of course they get to that little town of Jackson, which I was just like, yes. I'm so glad they did
part 2. Yes.
Because from part 1, it's much more of like this concrete fort kind of a thing that they're.
It's like a building with that giant like turbine engine thing.
Starting to build it.
Right.
They don't even have anything really.
I think this definitely tells us they're not going to do much of a time leap in season 2. At least that's my guess. Like, because Bella Ramsey's not that tall of a person.
Now she did already say in an interview that she knows that in season 2 she's supposed to be 19. So I think they'll still do a time leap.
Oh, okay, all right.
I could be wrong.
How old?
Anyway,
that's fair.
In real life,
she's like 20 or something. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So she looks very young.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
They could probably make her look a little bit older and rougher.
Yeah, they're definitely dressing her young for sure.
In part 2.
You think she'll get like? Because Ellie in part 2 is just absolutely jacked. Like she is
toned. She's like fit.
She's got a tattoo as well.
Yeah. She's not Abby level of jacked, but she's pretty jacked.
No.
Yeah.
You don't really realize how unlike Abby she is until that encounter.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Episode 6 was great, guys. What about Cocaine Bear, which was, I think, the start of the Last of Us problem. No, it was not. Cocaine
that's how everything starts.
This is a movie that's based on a true story of a bear that died of an overdose of cocaine. And
can you put that in air quotes though? Like, it's based on a true story, but they really took it.
That is the basis for the true story. Like, they did the autopsy on the bear and found all this cocaine that somebody dumped out of a plane. So that's real.
Yeah.
But they filled in the blanks with what the bear did.
Yeah, what was his last 24 hours like? Or
yeah, exactly. So the movie is as outrageous as it sounds. Like, I even brought the movie up to friends, and I said, if I told you a movie title is called Cocaine Bear, what would you guess it would be about? And like, they were something way off, and I was like, no, it's literally about a bear doing cocaine. Are you kidding me?
It's literally
it's like it's snakes on a plane. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So the movie starts with that 80s song from Wet Hot American Summer, and I feel like that was Elizabeth Banks' way of being like, hey, I was in that movie, and that's where I came from.
Oh yeah, she directed this. That's right.
Yeah, she did. So that was really cool, and it's got an 80s vibe all the way through, like in terms of what the stakes are, who the characters are. The ensemble is just a bunch of expendable people for a bear to maul, basically.
Sure.
They don't matter. Even though they are famous people, they don't matter to the plot. R.I.P. Ray Liotta, but you don't matter. But yeah, some of the deaths are just insane. There's a whole ambulance chase scene that's alluded to in the trailer that is definitely worth the price of admission alone. It is so effing insane. It could have gone even more crazy with some of the humor, but for the most part, it worked. Like, and then I feel like the middle chunk is the best part of the movie. The beginning and the end kind of like, they're okay. Like, it's okay. Yeah. They're just trying to set everything up for all of these characters to converge in the forest where the bear is killing people.
Sure.
And you're just waiting for that, basically. But in the middle chunk, it really thrives and it's really funny. The dude from The Wire is hilarious. He plays a detective in the movie, and there's a part where he has to get on top of a gazebo, and he's like trying to stop these bad guys, and he's like, "Hold on, I'm coming down." And he's making noises for 30 seconds trying to figure out how to get down. He's like, just dad noise. So funny.
The dad noises.
Yes.
Dude, my kids call me out on that when I like get out of my chair and stuff. They'll be like, "Oh, he's making all these dad noises." I'm like, "Ugh," as I stand up,
You should hear it. You shouldn't hear me pee, but I'm just saying when I pee.
All right, John.
It's definitely like, oh fuck. I feel like an old man now. I'm so old.
Like,
smacking your lips all the time.
That's definitely when I'm home alone, not when I'm like at a movie theater or something. I swear to God, I don't do it in public.
Sure.
Man. Well, Cocaine Bear sounds exactly like what it sounds like.
Yes, so. It is delivering on its premise, and it is pretty enjoyable if you're into. It's very R-rated, so it's very, very violent, like a horror movie.
Awesome.
As it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Right. So if you're not into the hyper-violent, comedy horrors, don't watch it. There's not going to be a theme for you to grasp onto. Well, what are these characters' motives? It's not that.
You're against
How is this culture relevant today? I don't know. The fentanyl crisis. I don't know what to tell you here.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm trying to remember who. Okay, it's a Universal Pictures movie. That means it'll be on Peacock in a few months.
Nice.
Cool.
So definitely watch it there when it comes there.
Nice. Dan or Derek, anything else new you're playing or watching before we move into a quick?
I watched Quantumania or whatever.
Oh, nice.
I didn't like it.
Boo. That's okay.
I didn't care.
A lot of people didn't.
Yeah. I thought the villain was good. I thought the setup for future projects with him is good, but other than that, and this is coming from an Ant-Man fan. Like, I'm not saying I read the comics or anything like that. I'm saying I liked the first two movies, and I really like Paul Rudd. So I expected. I don't really care what critics say because I'm like, I don't usually agree with you, especially with movies. So I was expecting to like it, and I just came away going, nope, this is not my thing. I didn't like the humor. I didn't think any of it really was funny, and I thought the plot was, I don't know. I'm just not into multiverse. I think that's really what it is. I think multiverse is stupid. So I don't like it. I'm not interested in it.
Kyle and I did a spoiler cast on the movie, and we both actually came away, even though we both liked it, me maybe a little more than him, that he was saying a lot of the same things you're saying about the jokes, where he was like, I didn't care for any of the humor, whereas I did. I was like, I defended certain parts when we got to the spoilers. I was like, okay, I like this, this, and this. But we also theorized that the multiverse thing is just not going to land with some people, and that's fine, because it's a big ask of your audience to be like,
so I'm
invest
curious
in some of these characters that are going to die so new ones can come in or whatever, of the same character, and it's a big ask.
It's just confusing.
It's just messy. Yeah.
Yes, it's very messy, and the way they can, I'm not saying they're doing this, but the way they can fix it if it gets too messy, and other shows have done this before too, is just go,
definitely,
oh, that was a different universe.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
and they've already started to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that is not a solution that anybody, or an outcome that anybody's like, I'm interested in that. Like, if that's your way of writing off bull crap, no.
Kyle,
Dan, what were you going to say?
That they should have done.
I was going to say, I like the multiple universes, and I think especially with this being live, because the bottom line is these actors, they are given a contract and they can only stick around for so long. Also, people age, so eventually they do have to kill them off. Like, I mean, you can't be 80 years old running around as whatever Captain America.
Yeah.
Like
Chris Evans,
like Chris Evans
makeup. Yeah.
Yeah. Like.
I don't think I will.
I think it also does lend to the multiverse, because it's like, it is actually a pretty convenient excuse to be like, well, now this character's dead. I think it matters on how you write it, right? If it just seems like it's just kind of happens, like, and there's no oomph to it, then it's like, well, that sucks. But if you write it where like it feels like it matters and there's stakes, then that will make it so it's like, all right, well, there's a lot going on here, but like that was a cool moment, or that was like a really impactful moment. So
I just feel like the only movie that's semi, and I wasn't like a fanboy of it like other people that nailed it, where it felt good and the story kind of like closed off good, was Spider-Man. Where it was like, oh, okay, you're bringing back old characters. Then you have this nice like ending or finale, and then they go back to their thing, and you're okay with
They tied
it
up in a nice little bow, like, oh, the multiverse is closed now, we're good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas some of these other characters, like Doctor Strange, all these guys that have all this power to manipulate and control, that's where it gets messy. Spider-Man's not messy. He can't mess with the multiverse. He actually had to use Doctor Strange to do it. So they did. But like all these other characters, and there's a lot more out there, they can all mess it all up, and it's just, I don't know, it gets really stupid.
That's how it is. I mean, the multiverse has existed in the comics for a while. It's not
such
super
a long
new,
arc,
you know. So eventually, when they were like, multiple universes, then it's like
it's an excuse, and I get it. I'm not like saying these writers are lazy. I'm saying it's an excuse to keep making money and creating new content.
Of course.
Definitely.
If that wasn't part of their thing, they wouldn't write this in. They know this is messy. They know this is in a way lazy. But
I just think it's hard to uncork that bottle.
It is.
Recork that bottle, whatever the thing is. Like,
because we
once
know that
you
this
open that door, now it's like, well, great. All the stakes in my mind are now changed. I'm not saying they're all lesser, but for me, the stakes don't feel as high, because if one of them dies, there's all these other universes.
Even I'll agree with that.
We saved Earth here, but and 9 gazillion other ones we didn't, but we didn't see that, so we don't care.
But I understand what Dan's saying too, where it's like, hey, the multiverse has been around for a long time. I know that. I remember hearing about it a lot, and I remember seeing little touches of it here and there in some of the cartoons and stuff like that, especially with the X-Men.
Spider-Verse, right? Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse, right? But those are done in like just the right amount of playful ways that it doesn't feel like you're breaking the real world that I'm invested in. Right. This is starting to really venture into feeling like, boy, they're really kind of breaking the world that I care about and introducing all these other, which is, listen, if this is what you like and this is what the path they're going, that's totally fine. I'm just saying, this is Derek saying exactly how I've been feeling for a while about this. I'm just like, it's harder and harder for me to care, because it feels like none of it matters. It's just a spaghetti mess of stuff.
Well,
I'm not saying I agree. I just get where people are coming from when they say that. I'm like, you know what? I totally understand.
So is it acceptable to you guys, like, if they still are having this universe that we've been with this whole time, if they are still making it seem like this is the main universe and like kind of keeping that intact, but then these other guys, it's almost like cameos, like guest stars, and you got these things. Is that okay, or are you just more concerned that they're
I kind of hate it. I think it would be okay for a little bit, but I think with everything, if you redo something over and over, it gets old. I think also the fatigue of these movies is setting in. It is playing against the MCU. Like, I'm not saying that they're putting out terrible products. I don't jump on those dumb bandwagons.
You can't.
But they are putting out more and more and more, and it does get to a point where you're like, okay, I don't care about this as much anymore.
The last Marvel movie that I cared about a lot, and I really want them to make more, was Shang-Chi. I loved that movie, and I want to see another one of those.
Totally
and that didn't,
different.
and that was its own little encapsulated story. I didn't feel like you were blowing the wheels off of everything I thought I knew. Like, I'm really tired of that feeling in a movie. Like, you thought you knew this, but we actually have this going on. It's like, all right, I'm getting a little tired of that.
Actually, you know what? Kyle and I were saying on the podcast that Current Cinema, you should go listen to it. We're probably going to take a break until I can figure out what to do about Kyle's schedule, though. But anyway, we were saying they should have done a different saga first, maybe not multiverse, and then do multiverse in the third saga. Like, they should have focused on maybe the Skrulls, maybe Secret Wars only before they started going, hey, there's multiple universes now, because now it's a little messy, you know, like now. I feel like the Skrull invasion would have earned the audience's trust in regards to how they would handle certain cameos, because Skrulls can pretend to be anybody, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would have earned people's trust a little faster than just doing multiverse.
And that's still mixed up in all
or whatever.
Like that the Skrulls thing is
they're going to end this saga on the Secret Wars. I'm like, how are you going to do that? Whatever. We'll figure it out.
whatever.
Anyways, I watched Quantumania. I didn't.
There you go.
It.
Listen, it's a incredibly challenging adaptation, this whole multiverse saga they're trying to go through. So I'm not sitting here pretending like myself, and I don't think anyone else here is claiming they would know how to do it better.
Right.
Sure.
It's just, I feel like it's a questionable choice for just your more casual MCU fans. Like,
and I think we're all still on board with like the side stories. Like, I think Guardians 3 has nothing to do with the multiverse. So I mean, we're gonna have a lot of fun with that movie.
Well, I was thinking, what would have been some of my favorite Marvel things recently. I loved Shang-Chi. Totally standalone. Felt like its own separate thing. Outside of a few like little moments, like the what's his name?
The mid-credits scene.
Ben Kingsley was in there for a little bit. I like that, those kind of touches. But anyway, so I loved that one. I really did like Spider-Man, but now that I feel like I've seen so many multiverse things, that for me has lessened the impact of that a little bit. Still thought it was well done though. Still really enjoyed that movie. Yeah. And then I think just a couple of the shows, like Moon Knight is a standout for me. It was its own encapsulated separate story. They had their own rules set up. I was able to follow it, and it just kind of worked. And they weren't trying to show me how, hey, this tear in space-time has now created film, So
it was its own stakes set apart from everything else. It was its
own thing.
Yeah.
So
I love the Loki, even though it is kind of like that's the bottle that opened that caused the multiverse.
That was the only thing I didn't like about Loki.
But I still loved the vibe of the show. And
I still liked it. Still liked it a lot.
Yeah. I think out of the four of us, and obviously I can't speak for Kai, I think I'm the furthest away from you guys. I want more of things being connected and all wacky and shit. Like, throw the wacky shit at me, dude.
Yeah.
I want more of it.
Fair.
Give me
That's
more
totally
wacky
fair.
shit.
Yeah,
I want it to be more comic book.
You support my petition to fire your ass.
Oh,
like every week.
Tim, can you please explain to the schmuck that
Tim has
not
no
a real
power
company.
over me.
There is no LLC. There is no LLC. Like,
actually, we've been making money on this for years. I've just been keeping all of it. All right.
Could you imagine this scumbag over here?
He's got like Scrooge, like gold bags behind him. Like, yes, keep saying racial things.
I just start spitting gold coins out of my mouth.
Jesus.
All right, so let's do a quick preview for March. There's some games coming out. Now, listen, for me, February, I think, is going to end up being a bigger month when I look back on the year than March is about to be. March is still pretty big for folks who are into some of these games. So here we go. Let's go through some. And if I miss one or two, let me know. But if this is one that is a big flag for you, like buying day one, going to spend time on it, let us know. The first significant release that I see on the calendar is Wolong Fallen Dynasty on March 3rd. That's coming to Game Pass too.
Well, Sasan hates that game, so I mean, it's obviously garbage.
Now, Dan, you played and beat and liked Sekiro a lot. That's the only From game that you actually really loved, it sounds like. What about this?
It's the one I like the most, yeah.
Okay, what about this one?
I liked the demo. I liked what was there, and I love samurai related themes.
Did you play the new demo, or are you talking about the old one?
The old one. I haven't played the new one. No. Is it a different area or?
It's the beginning of the game, and it carries over to the full person.
Oh, nice.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that, so maybe I'll do that. I'm not gonna pick that.
I think Sasan figured out that
it's on Game Pass.
It's from an earlier build though, so like sure. The final product, even though your progress will carry over, it's just gonna be
Yeah. Actually, I forgot that's on Game. Yeah. So okay. Yeah.
Are you saying the graphics are supposed to be better?
Might be. Who knows? We'll see.
Because on consoles, it's really, really bad.
Oh wow, that's disappointing. Wow.
I didn't think that first demo was ugly though.
No, I didn't think it was either.
Yeah, it was okay. This one, I feel like it's really like it feels like it's at a lower resolution.
Oh, okay.
Like again, it's another case of like the game looks good, the art style looks good, but it feels like really like not clean. It's not clean at all.
Okay.
And I did both quality and performance, and then I went ahead and downloaded it on PC, and it looks way better at native 4K and ultra settings, all that stuff. It looks like a good game there. So I think it's a resolution issue.
Oh,
okay.
Huh.
All
yeah,
right,
I mean,
so
it is an early build, so it's possible that it'll look way smoother on consoles in the full product.
there's a lot of games listed here that I'm going to skip past, but if there's something you're aware of from February, feel free to call it out. I'm going to jump to, for March. Thank you for March. I'm going to jump to March 14th. We have a couple of unique releases. One is Hot Wheels Rift Rally, which is the previously announced kind of real life Hot Wheels racer.
Yeah, it's like the Mario Kart thing, right?
Like Mario, made by the same folks who made the Mario Kart.
Oh, cool.
Racer.
Okay.
But they're doing Hot Wheels this time. So that comes out to PS4, PS5, and mobile on the 14th. On that same day, you guys remember last year, The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero, which was a remake of, or remake something of a 2010 game. Part 2 of that story, and the final part of that story is called The Legends of Heroes Trails to Azure, and that comes out on March 14th. That's a 2011 game. So like that kind of completes that story arc is what I'm reading for that.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I think that might be first time it's coming out in the US. I'm not sure if it is or not, but
that's anyway. What I recall reading about it. Yeah.
And then that same day, March 14th, Valheim is going to hit Xbox Game Pass.
Oh, yes, that's right. The first console release. Yeah.
Yep. They do plan on having the full game release on all consoles is kind of their dream, but they're starting it out on Game Pass, kind of the early preview Game Pass.
Yeah.
But by the way, it's already been on Game Pass for PC. Now it's just
it has. Yeah.
All right, let's see. We got a couple of VR. One main VR one is the Dark Pictures Switchback VR. Is coming out on March 16th.
Cool.
If anyone is buying the VR set. March 17th is WWE 2K23.
Let me tell you something, dude. I'm totally going to get that game, brother.
Tell us, brother.
On that same day is Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon coming to Switch.
Yeah. Kind of keep forgetting about that one.
I'm curious about reviews and impressions and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was watching like gameplay, and I don't know if it's my type of game.
$60 is steep for that kind of a game.
It's
so
$60? Oh my god, dude!
I'm pretty sure I saw on the
Nintendo.
That changes things for me a little bit. I might be prioritizing WWE over that.
Unless you do the ticket thing and you get it for $50.
I'm pretty sure I saw it on the voucher. Maybe it's
$50 is the voucher.
But I think it was $60. I think it was a $60 game.
It's a $60 game, but you can use the voucher.
Yeah, so get it for $50. There you go. Speaking of Switch, they're getting a port of Remnant from the Ashes. We know that the second game was announced, but they're getting Remnant on the Switch. And then, as we heard in the State of Play, one of the most anticipated PlayStation 5 games, Chia, is coming out. They actually called it that. They said it's one of the most anticipated. Yeah. I was like, you guys have nothing to show today, do you?
No, I remembered this game, but that was outrageous.
When they said most anticipated, I was like, Little Devil Inside, here we go. Nope.
I think they're hoping this will fit in that same bucket as like Stray, where it's an indie game that's got a lot of charm. It's going to be free on. It's on PS Plus Premier or
it's called
whatever.
Chia, but it's got a T in the front of it.
It's going to be on one of those tiers of PS Plus where you get a free game, so it's going to be free for some folks.
I will definitely be playing. Like the more I've seen of it, the more I'm like, okay, I might enjoy this game. But most anticipated, absolutely not.
just for a little bit of a context for this, when I saw the trailer for this game, I went and showed my daughter and said, "Hey, we'll have this on PlayStation." She's like, "Oh, that looks so cute! I want to play." It's that kind of a game. And so like it might be a lot of fun, but it's also definitely a younger target audience with its art style and gameplay.
There's
like a lot of exploring and collecting.
On that same day, there's a mobile version of, this is not in Wikipedia, there's a mobile version of Doom coming out, and it looks awesome, actually. So I'm normally not like a mobole gamer, but it looks pretty cool. Like it's a totally different art style and stuff, much like Bayonetta Origins.
Isn't it kind of like a isometric,
I think
so. Like an overhead kind of a thing?
But it's just supposed to be just as fast paced, allegedly.
Okay.
So I'm just intrigued to see what that ends up looking like, for sure.
All right. Have a Nice Death is hitting Switch on March 22nd. You can already play it on early access on Steam. I think that might be like the 1.0 release for Steam. Is my guess too. Is March 22nd.
Oh, cool.
Otherwise, I'd be surprised if it's coming on Switch if they're not considering that like the full release. But all right, still moving down the list here. We got Resident Evil 4 on March 24th is my next notable game. There's some other stuff.
Never heard of it
too, but.
How dare you?
And they're getting VR support for it. It's going to be free.
VR support. There's going to be a Mercenaries mode. I mean, this game, it's going to be great. And there's a demo, by the way, that they said there's going to be a demo soon. They didn't say
coming soon. You know what? They shouldn't even.
It'll be like the week before.
They shouldn't have mentioned that. And then the day that it was going to release, they're like, "Hey, surprise demo!" Like like, why did they? Don't do that to me. Either shadow drop it or just shut up.
Well, that same day, Diablo 4 open beta happens. Starting the 24th through the 26th, so it's like you only have that brief window for people that want to play Diablo 4 for a little bit.
Okay.
So Resident Evil 4 remake is probably my second most anticipated for the entire year.
What's first?
I wonder what the first is.
What's first?
Final something.
Starfield.
Starfield. Yes.
Fatal Frame. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, Fatal Frame 16. Yeah, I'm very
Atomic Hearts. Got it.
Yeah, Atomic Heart. Yeah, exactly. Atomic Douche.
He is.
He is an atomic.
That's why it's called Atomic, because he's such a toxic person. That's why it's called that.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm very excited.
Open another freaking door.
It visually looks phenomenal. I like the little tweet, like what's his name? The dude that he goes up against, Kowser. I think Kowser it is. Look like that fight looks like it's in a different area. The actual way that you're doing the fight looks like way more dynamic and like.
It looks like they changed a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of things going on there that looks quite different. But I'm digging it and I'm very excited to see what those changes are, and
hopefully they'll have an upskirt section. That's the only reason I'm buying the game.
She's not. I don't think she's wearing a skirt.
Just want to know.
So that was the first.
That
was the first Resident Evil game that I played start to finish and loved. And I remember after I played that, I want to say I played it on the Wii because I think they had a cool Wii version with like some aiming or something.
Yeah, you can aim.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
But I remember going back and trying the older ones, and they were just so different. I was like, oh, I don't like these.
Yeah.
So like, I wasn't already a mega Resident Evil fan. So like, I went into 4 just like this really cool, what is essentially this third-person action adventure with light RPG mechanics, and I was like, this is amazing. I love this. So I am so looking forward to this, and I've actually kind of chosen not to dive deep. They've shown a lot about this game, and I've kind of pulled back from like.
I'm not watching anything.
I'm just kind of done watching stuff. I'm so excited for this.
I haven't watched anything extra, so.
4 days later.
I don't mean to backtrack on you, but this is not nearly as important as Resident Evil 4. But the day before, on the 23rd, there is a not for broadcast DLC coming out. Have you heard about this, Tim?
Oh, I did, yeah.
Yeah. It's called Live and Spooky, and it's literally like a Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters type show, and you got to edit it.
Sakes.
It sounds so funny. Oh,
you have to edit it. That's what it is.
That's it's happening live.
You are like a live director.
Okay.
You're like producing it live.
You're in the booth basically. And you are having to queue up commercials and edit out curse words and stuff like that.
You have to like cut to the shot of who's talking and
keep it interesting for the viewers. Yep. Yeah. That's
like a 10 game.
If the Ghost Hunters episode that they're going to put in there is on the same comedic tone as the previous segments, it's going to be so funny, dude.
Yeah, that's on the 24th, huh? Or
23rd? 23rd, yeah.
23rd. Okay. All right.
People watch that stuff, huh?
What a unique game.
I know. So ridiculous.
By the way, that I don't know because you have to talk while you stream. I realize that, but that seems like it'd be a fun game to stream.
I mean,
true.
I finished Chicken Police.
Ooh.
Yeah, so interesting game
Creepy
overall.
game.
Obviously, gameplay wise, it's not like anything that you're like fighting or actually, there was a couple of shooting parts, but it was very like mundane. Where you're getting chased by a couple of thugs in a chase scene. But yeah, like the actual like detective parts were, like I said, like LA Noir, which was interesting and kind of fun, but people didn't seem super interested in Chicken Police, to be honest. So I mean, some people would. I had some. Yeah, I mean, again, I think the premise is interesting. I think the characters are funny. I think,
bet you if you streamed Wolong, you would actually probably get a lot of people interested. Seriously.
I mean, it depends.
I know you were saying you won't buy it day one.
We all want to see the pro. We want to see the pro gamer in action.
Exactly.
I mean, but that's the thing. That's the thing. Me playing that by myself and dying a bunch, but like pushing myself to be like, I will do this, is different than on stream. Dying a bunch and being embarrassed because I'm not
doesn't sound very pro gamer of you.
That's why. That's why.
Sounds like somebody's backpedaling right there.
I'm not backpedaling. I finished it. That's all that matters.
Dan, that's why I started a YouTube channel very briefly for like a month called Jeff Sucks at Games. So I've set expectations accordingly.
That's good.
So people can criticize how bad I am.
Right. And then if you succeed, they're like, "Oh shit, he doesn't suck at games." Oh shit.
On the 28th, we have a weird combination of games hitting on March 28th. Not only is there MLB The Show 23, which I think they confirmed is going to be on Game Pass day one.
Oh, nice.
Again.
Like last year. Cool.
Just like last year, which is so funny. This feels like they just keep slapping Sony across the face with this account. That's no longer a Sony exclusive.
Those games are good, dude. Those games are good.
Last of Us Part 1 will hit PC on that day.
Yep. I got that.
And then that one of the wackiest game reveals of last year, Crime Boss Rockay City. You guys remember that being with that insane cast?
God.
And like Chuck Norris is in there. That's supposed to release on March 28th.
That's gotta get delayed. No way.
We're getting close.
I'm gonna go ahead and make a prediction. This is a very risky prediction.
It's either a really bad.
It's gonna be the worst game of the year. It's gonna be like
either a really bad game or it's not coming out.
Well, did you guys hear what kind of game it is? Like, it's basically like Payday. Like it's one of those type of multiplayer games only. So I think people are going to stream it, and it's going to be broken AF, and it's not going to be
forgotten.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually will stream. I don't know if you guys have seen this at all. And it'll probably be an even better game than whatever the hell that is. Squirrel with a gun. Have you guys seen Squirrel with a Gun?
I have.
No,
that looks
an amazing title.
That looks so funny, man.
It does. It really does. I'm
really bad, like 3D graphics, it's all physics based, and you're running around holding like a Uzi shooting.
And there's like Agent Smith looking dudes walking around, and like I've seen some newer videos where apparently he can climb up like their body and like basically just snap their neck. Like he just like runs around their head and just like snaps their neck. It looks absurd.
On March 30th, there's this game that this could be a completely crappy game. I was just looking up who made it to see if they made anything else I'd recognize, but it's called Ravenbound.
Oh, I saw that too. Yeah.
So I think they made Second Extinction, which Derek talked about a while back.
Yeah, that was decent.
So anyway, this game Ravenbound, it's like this 3D action RPG. It looks really interesting. I have no idea if it'll actually be good.
Ravenbound?
Yeah, Ravenbound, one word.
Interesting.
There's interestingly, like 2 weeks later, there's a game called Raven's Watch coming out, and it's very similar in action.
Okay.
God damn it!
How many Ravens are there that you need to put?
2023 is the year.
We're gonna preview that Raven Watch game on our Watch podcast that's coming out real soon.
The Watch, and we only talk about wristwatches and games with the word watch.
And it's audio only.
Is Casio on right now?
You need a fall cast, Derek. You need a fall cast.
All games with word fall. Yeah.
Ravenfall.
The only other thing I wanted to highlight two other things that are scheduled for March. I don't know if they'll arrive, but one is Sifu hitting Xbox consoles sometime in March.
Nice.
Claimed.
You're welcome.
And then the System Shock remake, I guess, is what it is.
It is.
That's supposed to hit in March, although there's no date.
Still no date, surprisingly, but they did have a demo that played really smooth.
Really
that demo was cool, man.
You can pre-order that one on CD Keys for $32 too, and it's
Derek, if you haven't tried that demo, you should try the demo for that.
I did. I tried it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Really, really interesting.
There's a rumor, and this could be complete BS because they haven't announced anything, but they are putting display cases out, and Best Buy is advertising the release date of AEW Fight Forever for March 31st.
Okay.
Just throwing it out there.
All right.
That would be bold to be like, hey, WWE, I saw you release that game. We're going to put out one too.
Dude, there's been two wrestling games that have just been teasing us for way too long. I'm starting to like get a little mad. WrestleQuest and AEW. I'm like, just put the freaking games out.
Put the game out.
Make it. Whatever. There you go. All right, so there's your preview for March. See, there's some good stuff. I felt like February had a lot more of me going like, oh man, oh
dude,
boy.
And they had surprises too that were like, oh, this is like a Game of the Year game. Holy crap, like Metroid Prime Remastered and stuff. So
now March might end up having one of my favorite games of the year in Resident Evil 4, possibly, but there's just not as many other ones outside of that. Like I want to replay Last of Us Part 1 on PC. I talked about that, but there's not like a ton of other stuff that I'm like.
But that's honestly a good thing.
That is a good thing,
Game
man.
of
I
the
agree.
Year potential for me.
That
has a shot at.
Wolong. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That's an interesting like what do we think other than obviously Resident Evil 4 has Game of the Year potential, but I don't, for me personally, because I'm not a Resident Evil person, I've just never really truly tried those. I don't really have any in the month of March that would be on my Game of the Year list. I'll try
RE4 is the only one.
Did you play like Resident Evil 2 remake and all
every Resident Evil that's come out since 7, like including the remakes? I've only put in like a few hours into I've never really beaten them.
2 is so excellent. Like it's so good. 2 is my favorite. Like and remake now. Like
8's my favorite. I think Village is
8 is very good too. Yeah.
Village is amazing.
I actually wanted to get the VR headset was not for any of the games that are launching that are
It was for Village.
I wanted Village. Resident Evil 4.
You want to dunk the baby.
You wanted to dunk the baby's head in the red sauce, and then have you wanted to have Lady D like.
It's a mad ad for a baby.
Like Jim Carrey on Liar Liar.
I mean,
well, that's because you got big jugs. I mean, your boobs are huge. I want to squeeze them.
I mean, Jim Carrey. Man, that's a classic.
I object to myself. Because Liar Liar is great, dude.
It really is.
I would say that maybe if AEW does drop that month, that probably is your Game of the Year contender, Jeff. If it delivers.
I expect it to be totally broken when it comes out, but
you're probably right. Buggy, and then eventually get updated to be playable and fun.
Yeah.
What can I ask? What's the difference between AEW and WWE that would make you more excited for that?
In the game specifically, they want to go back to the No Mercy controls,
like the old THQ games for N64.
Yes. They want to simplify it to the point of being super arcadey. And not that WWE isn't anymore. I think 2K22 was a step in the right direction to make it more accessible.
Yeah.
But AEW is truly like wanting to make literally a No Mercy game in 2023 or whenever the game comes out. Okay. So that's the difference between it, because WWE went for realism for many years, and you can't do realism in wrestling. It's ridiculous.
The 4-player
like UFC fighting game.
Yeah, and I'm like, what are we doing?
At first, but now it's like. You gotta roll to do this, and I'm like, no, this is dumb.
It's way better now,
into a boxing match.
Yeah, it was that for like 10 years. It was that.
The arcade multiplayer mayhem of the THQ games on N64 was brilliant, man. It was so fun. And then they added in all these customizable features where you can create wrestlers and use whatever combo moves you wanted as your your ending move could be the dumbest thing ever.
Yes.
You could create whatever you wanted. I just loved it, man.
I loved making, because you can make finishers super long now. You can make it 8 moves like in one. So I would tend to just make my finisher just transitions. Like I would just move somebody's head right here, and then move them down on the floor, and then move them back up, and then and then I would hit them with like a DDT at the end. It would be something stupid.
Something really simple. Like
I think one of my buddy's favorite finishers is he would always do like the back rake or something like that, where they would
like something so simple and dumb.
And they would go like, oh, and they'd be dead. They'd be totally like, oh, this is so stupid.
Yeah,
love it though.
I want that.
That's why AEW for me too is something that I'm like, as long as it's not completely broken, I'm gonna buy it and love it.
Yeah.
But they keep delaying it. They put a lot of time into it. My hope is that they're like, no, we're gonna do it right. Like that's, I'm hoping
that's my hope too. And my understanding is, according to one of the wrestlers that's been involved with it, who's a big time gamer, it's Kenny Omega. The video that I shared with Dan, he came out to Sephiroth's theme, and
that was awesome.
Yeah,
dressed like Sephiroth. Basically.
Yeah, so he's been the AEW talent involved in developing the game, and he has like been telling them like we need it to just be like the N64 games, basically. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, whatever. They have their hearts in the right place. That's all I'm concerned about, basically.
Yep. All right, guys, a couple of headlines to hit here. Microsoft is bringing Call of Duty to Nintendo platforms. So they've agreed to sign this. They signed this thing they already verbally agreed to. And they are calling it a binding 10-year legal agreement to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo platforms. So according to the Xbox firm, it's previously announced these commitments, and now it's legally binding to release them with full feature and content parity same day as Xbox on Nintendo
day is what's
platforms.
Getting me. There's no effing way they're going to do it same day.
It's almost, but this part of this is that they're saying, should its proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard be approved? It's almost like they're saying, look how nice we're going to be if you guys approve this. So like, there's a little bit of that.
It is.
There's definitely showmanship here. Yeah.
I doubt it's going to be a Switch release. It would probably be like Switch 2 or something where it's more powerful hardware where they could do it.
Well, they put out Wii U version of the last Call of Duty game on the Nintendo console was on the Wii U with Call of Duty Ghosts.
I bought it. Yeah.
And like as far as I remember, they were always ugly, but they played fine. They just weren't. It wasn't my preference. Like I don't like playing them.
I mean, they could do it. I'm just saying. I think this agreement is more future based, meaning like we're just trying to get this deal done. By the time the deal's done, they already know. Microsoft already knows what Nintendo has in the works. They know about the Switch 2 or whatever it's going to be called. They know probably how powerful it's going to be, and they're probably like, "Yeah, we could make the games on that platform easily. Yeah, let's do this. Let's make this deal."
I could see that. I could see
Yeah, I
that
agree with that.
because those two have been talking certainly more than Sony and Nintendo, and Sony and Microsoft. You know,
Sony won't talk to anybody.
Yeah,
Sony
they got their own
is-
thing going on. Yeah,
They are the angry kid in the corner. Like
They're the atomic heart of the video game industry.
Yeah.
is what they
Hey,
are.
listen, how
why
dare
didn't
you,
you
right?
tell me that yesterday?
These guys, they're being bullied, okay? All right. They're being
Innocent.
bullied, and I
They
don't
are innocent.
appreciate
And
right. Jim
Phil
Ryan
Spencer is a liar.
Jim Ryan knows what he's doing, okay? Jim Ryan is the greatest thing
Yeah.
to happen to America.
Yeah,
all
To
right?
America.
It's like your hate for
He's
Jim
God's
Ryan.
gift to
Like,
America.
If you
Yeah.
hate Phil Spencer, I get it. But where's your hate post for Jim Ryan? Like he is
For real.
literally.
He's
Like,
so
listen, all right?
And I'm not complaining about the stuff he's doing because I know why he's doing it. It's for business purposes. I agree with it. I'm
There he
fine
is,
with
Dan.
it.
God.
There.
All right?
I'm
I
just
don't
talking
I don't
in
need
general. He has been a terrible leader.
I don't
for,
need you
like,
to besmirch my Lord and Savior here, okay?
Look, with his yellow teeth. Get out of here.
Dan, you
Get
gotta
out
figure.
of
Dan, you gotta
here.
figure out a way on your background to get him to like just peek in from like the bottom and then peek
He's
back.
running for a dentist. What are you doing, buddy? Like,
Listen,
come
it's
on.
because the wall is yellow and it's reflecting off it. Listen, I
Sure.
don't need you to
Okay.
shit.
He's jaundiced. Leave him alone.
This man knows what he's doing.
He's a
He knows
severe
what he's
alcoholic
doing,
because of his poor business strategies.
That's
why.
it. That's all it is.
his severe alcoholic.
Oh man. Oh my gosh.
Get real there.
Well, I am as a Nintendo fan, I am curious to see how Call of Duty is gonna run on the Nintendo Switch. But to Derek's
buy it.
point, very much could be a Switch 2 situation.
Could be.
They're just dangling the carrot to try to get as much support for this acquisition.
I really think that's
It
it.
just
It's really
needs to
just
get
for show.
done.
Yeah.
This is taking like a
Needs to get
year.
done.
almost.
This is
And they
ridiculous.
just they were just able to present a report to the EU regulator in Europe about Sony the stranglehold, not the words that they used. I just chose to use that word. Sorry, but
more or
they're
less
basically
that,
saying
right?
that Sony has already created a bit of a monopoly themselves. And they were like, they look at their sales. It's like something
They're
percent
just
of the
doing
market.
well. That's so stupid.
They're just doing well. That's what they're arguing. Is like they're
Oh
doing
my
so
gosh.
well that it's creating less opportunities for us.
No
And it's
one's
like,
coming out looking good out of this deal.
like you
It's
guys
so
already own
stupid.
studios and you're not doing anything with them. So I mean, it's
Ugh.
not.
I mean, it's like our government, right? It's literally grown ass adults just acting like effing children.
Yes.
It's like
This
they
is
and
just
they're
what
and they're
money
but they're
does.
just all they're doing
Yeah,
is
it's true.
strawmanning the other side. Let me make them look
Sure.
as ridiculous and evil as
Right,
possible
you know.
Right.
without giving them any credit for
filibustering each
anything
other.
good.
Like it's like instead of trying
It's
to
exactly
solve-
like politics, man.
Which
It's
is
like
so
the other side
baffling
can't be
because
good.
then publicly on Twitter or something, because Twitter means everything's accurate. You
Yeah.
have Phil Spencer saying stuff like God of War Ragnarok was a great game and he's commending the studio and stuff.
Right.
But then when they do the regulation shit with like the EU, it's suddenly like Sony's the bad guy and they got our boot on our necks. Like it's
Sure.
come on, guys.
Well, he's praising the little guys, so to speak, right? Like the people
True.
making the game.
He's,
but
he's
then
like
the
adding the
F you.
studio. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not adding.
I want
Sony,
Jim
though.
Ryan to tweet out like Hi-Fi Rush sucks.
That'd be so funny. He probably doesn't even know what that is.
I'm glad Mikami or something like that.
For some reason, I picture Jim Ryan as a guy that's like, when you tell him a game title, he's like, "What is that? Am I supposed to know what that is?"
I want every time there's any kind of like
release that garbage on PlayStation.
Anytime there's negative Microsoft news, I want Jim Ryan to like quote tweet it and just say good, like as like 10,000 Microsoft staff laid off.
Petty.
Good.
Dear God.
Finally getting what I always
Microsoft
wanted.
admits that Game Pass decreases game sales. Good.
Listen,
I told you.
I knew it.
I would numb on that drama. That's for sure.
I knew it.
Dude, that was the dumbest report ever. Like, oh, we sell less games because of Game Pass. Wow, that's
such a dumb thing. That's like Netflix saying like, hey, we sell fewer movies because we put them on our streaming service.
That's what I'm saying. That's
no kidding.
Dumbest article ever.
Obviously. Forza Horizon 5 is going to have its second major expansion release, and that is Rally Adventure.
I did not know about this.
That's coming out on March 29th. We should have included that, I guess, in our March preview.
Oh, that's real? What? Okay.
Now, this is not part of Game Pass unless you have like the add-on bundle, that kind of thing. So,
I do have the season pass. Is
I have
part
that too.
of that?
Yeah.
It's included in a premium add-ons bundle, which had the previous expansion included as well.
I still actually have to beat the Hot Wheels because when you start the Hot Wheels expansion, you're stuck in there until you beat all the courses.
No, you can exit out. But I know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. So I still want to beat it, though. I still want to see it through.
So you have to hit like start, and in the menu, you have to tell the game you want to go back to the other world.
Gotcha. Okay.
They're going to add, it sounds like, about 5 new vehicles that are specific to like the rally race experience. And there's going to be this, of course, a new area to explore, but this entirely new system of deformable terrain in order to accurately simulate weather like mud during the rally experience. So
this should be really fun.
Yeah. All right, cool. I'll dive back into that.
Me too.
I'm not bashing the Hot Wheels, but they've already done that. So when I played it, I was like, all right, this is cool.
I was surprised that was
go back
paid.
To the real
like
world.
that almost felt like it should have because they have done it before. That theme has been done. Like I was a little surprised that it was paid. But
it was still good, but it was like when I played that expansion in 3, I was like, I sunk way more hours into that. And that's why I didn't finish. Right. That's why I didn't finish it in 5.
I wish they should have done micro machines, make you look tiny in a world.
I love that.
It's so funny. Every time I put a game in my CD keys cart, they're like, "Add this game for 69 cents," and it's a micro machine.
I know, dude. They do that to me too. They're trying to give that away. They can't give it away.
Please take this micro machine.
We'll take $10 off your order to take this game.
I will send somebody to your house to do sexual favors if you buy this game. Please,
Jesus, good Lord.
Please get this game.
We will send the glove.
We'll send Charles
for Atomic Hearts and Arts.
Charles will come.
Whatever. Charles.
All right, so we know that there was big news. One of the big state of play things that got folks who are excited about this pretty pumped up was the Baldur's Gate 3 announcement. It's coming to console, but as far as we know, it's only coming to PlayStation consoles. So, but they did not
alpha game. Did you guys get turned on when you saw the dice rolling?
No, not even a little bit.
If you guys didn't get wet, I got wet. Okay.
It was the opposite of that. But anyway,
I was gonna say it makes me not want to buy it.
Yeah, it makes me the opposite of that. But it is confirmed to come out on August 31st, which is when the full version of the game I think is launching on PC as well. You can get it early access on PC now, I think. Yes. But they did say that they're just planning to release it for PC, Mac, GeForce Now, and PS5. But they don't have any exclusivity that they're announcing. They're not saying they're not making it anywhere. And he actually tweeted out, the CEO of Larian tweeted out, "Relax, we aren't playing the exclusivity game." So they're not ruling out Xbox. They just don't have it announced for that yet. And so I would imagine it'll come to Xbox. It'll probably be on Game Pass, but I'm going to guess 2024 for that, if I had to guess.
Or it could come out August 31st. They just might have wanted to only announce it for the state of play to hype it. And then, as it gets closer
that's very
to
common.
August 31st launch.
That's how I interpreted the announcement.
Nintendo Direct does that.
Xbox.
Yeah. Nintendo Directs do that all the time. That like Octopath Traveler 2, Nintendo Direct got to announce that. So it looked like a Switch game, although it came out on PC and PlayStation day and date.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nintendo, Miyamoto says Nintendo is always working on Mario. So he was recently asked why a new Mario game hasn't been announced, especially with Nintendo World
movie
Park and coming out. And he just said, well, we're always working on Mario. We just don't have anything to share right now, essentially is what he said. So there you go. Always working on some kind of Mario. It would have been cool to have.
I can't wait for Super Mario Valhalla. That's going to be awesome.
It's going to be
Atomic Mario.
All right, guys, there was a state of play from Sony this past week. I think it's safe to say that after the Xbox showcase, the Nintendo Direct, my expectations were at least like, give me something mid. Give me like a mid state of play where I can be somewhat excited. And I wasn't excited by, let me look at the list here.
Yeah. I just saw one of the titles you wrote in there. That was really funny.
There we go.
Damn
I wasn't excited by anything. Let me be very clear. Nothing new got me pumped up. There's stuff that's already announced, like the Resident Evil 4 stuff, Suicide Squad. Like, I think those things look cool. They continue to look cool. But I just don't care about any of this stuff. So they already told us what it's going to be, VR and Suicide Squad, but then a few other indie games we'll talk about. So they should have.
Do you feel like they should have, even though PSVR 2 was launching, do you feel like maybe they should have opened with Suicide Squad? Maybe that would have changed people's feelings on it?
Possibly.
Maybe.
Well, here's the thing, though. They again, and this happens every fucking time, and these morons on the internet, like, they specified it was going to be predominantly Suicide Squad and predominantly VR with sprinkling
but people
in.
Are hating on Suicide Squad, so that's also
no, but
but
sure. But what I'm saying,
obnoxious.
Before that on Twitter, I saw people making posts like, "So what does everyone anticipate?" And you see all these morons like Spider-Man, Final Fantasy 6. It's like, are you guys that dense? Like,
no, but they did say, Dan. To be fair, they did say hot new indie titles. So I'm thinking like we're gonna get some kind of major, at least smaller studio.
You did get a hot new indie title.
What was it?
Chia or whatever the hell.
Which was previously announced.
It was, but
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying they didn't deliver on what they promised.
I mean, it's the most anticipated game of 2023, guys.
It is.
I'm basically.
Why are we downplaying this?
I'm using this as a platform to yell at all the morons on the internet that always just throw out the biggest. It's like, if they're saying it's predominantly these two things, why are they going to sandwich Spider-Man?
Well, that
2?
even happens with directs, like with Nintendo. Like I will see in my trending, the ones that are the trending topics that are catered to me, I'll see like the biggest Nintendo titles you could imagine trending.
Yes.
And I'll click on it and it'll be like, oh, this is what they're showing at the direct. I'm like, guys, they're not showing Metroid Prime 4. I'm sorry, it's not happening. Chill, pump the brakes.
Although I do think with what appears to be great sales for Metroid Prime Remastered, I wonder if they'll start like prioritizing that internally more. But who knows?
Maybe. I hope so.
They did the sizzle reel for a bunch of VR2 games, stuff that it launched with, like Horizon and Gran Turismo and more. And then they showed a few new VR2, I think they're new VR2 games. The Foglands, which actually did look kind of cool. It looked like a really dark, like Fable-esque kind of a adventure fantasy game. Green Hell VR version, a game called Synapse, which did look pretty cool. That's the people who made Frack. What was that game called? I think it was called Frack. That was another VR game.
Frackety Frack.
Journey to Foundation and Before Your Eyes.
I gotta give a shout out to both those latter two. Journey to Foundation. That's cool that they're putting that in a game because I know that book is like beloved. Like that, I think there's a series of books by Isaac, whatever his last name is.
Wasn't it called Foundation? Was the first?
It is. It was called Foundation. They made a show out of it and stuff. It's very dense, like sci-fi, like just very dense. It's cool that they're making a game out of it. And Before Your Eyes, I talked about last year before that, right? 2021.
Yeah.
And that's the game that uses your eyes as your controller, basically. And I think the VR mapping is interesting because they can map your eyes better. Yep. So your eyes can actually be your controller and looking around the room. Whereas with your webcam, it was really just blinking that you were doing. So that's kind of cool that it's coming out for VR. It's a great game. Yeah. It's a great story. Let me put it that way. It's a great story.
Yeah, and it's a very creative concept. I got to give them that.
Definitely.
Got a new trailer for Destiny 2 Lightfall, which of course is still coming out. Chia, the most anticipated, like we talked about, coming out March 21st. Humanity, which is from the folks who did Resogun, that's coming out in May. And that's
there's a demo out now too.
That's where you're like a little glowing doggy who's like leading dumb people.
Yeah. I didn't know that was the Resogun devs. Yeah, that looked wild. That looked pretty wacky.
Yeah, there's a demo out, and I went to download it, and then it said nothing but like VR things when I went to download it. And I was like, oh, this is a VR game, and they didn't tell us?
I don't think it is.
Huh. Oh. It was really weird.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, there's a VR mode. It's not just VR.
Oh.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. It immediately turned me off for some reason. I was just like, I don't want to play a VR game in non-VR. It's just
Resogun turned me off, so you lost me.
Listen, Colin Moriarty said that was the best video game on PS4.
That was actually what I was gonna say. I bet you Colin creamed his pants. He's like, oh my
god, For years he kept saying it. For years.
Dude, I like that guy, but when he's dumb, he's dumb. Like,
big
when
time.
he's ridiculous, he's ridiculous.
Yeah, like some of his statements back in the day about the Vita, how it was going to stomp out the 3DS or whatever, was still some of my favorite stuff to look back at. Sorry, it didn't do that. Goodbye Volcano High coming out in June, which I didn't even know what kind of game this was. I thought it was just a narrative adventure game, but it's like an adventure rhythm game.
So there's like cool. That's really awesome. I can't.
Oh my god, so good. Just wait until we talk about Theatrhythm. They're gonna.
Oh, that game's actually really good.
All right. Yeah, y'all notice I went silent when you guys were like, Theatrhythm is the best game I've ever played. I'm like, I'm just gonna not be a negative Nancy.
Listen, but hold on. It involves Final Fantasy music, so let's not, you know.
I know that you actually didn't read anything we said because of your summary right there. There was something with Naruto. Let's keep going here.
All right, no, hold on. First of all, the audacity, because it's just Ninja Storm, Tim. It's not Asian words. Like, it's Ninja Storm. That's all it is. Just Ninja Storm.
I don't even know your
Naruto something. Let's move on.
It's a collection of the Ninja Storm games. But Tim something.
Did you see the title? The title was so long. And it was like, we're going to add this, and then we're going to add that. And I was like, I'm not going to add any of that. I'm just going to.
How about I just go Naruto, etc.
God, you guys, everybody on this show is turning into the Atomic Heart protagonist right now.
Atomic douche.
I'm not reading the rest of this name. Why didn't you tell me that ahead of time?
God damn
There's no words there. Actually, I'm turning into Bill O'Reilly. What does it mean to play us out?
Oh my gosh, that's one of the best clips ever. We'll do it live.
Yeah.
We'll do it live.
The thing sucks.
Fuck it.
What does that mean? To play us out.
And tomorrow we have, like, it's just so good. Dude, he just turns it on right away. Oh, man.
Oh, man.
What a profession.
All right, Baldur's Gate 3, we talked about already, coming on August 31st. Wayfinder, kind of looks like this MMO. At least I think they said MMO. Kind of had a Dauntless vibe. You played Dauntless, looks like that a little bit.
Oh.
A beta coming out this coming week, actually. There should be a beta for that.
Yeah, I think they already announced that, though, before.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Street Fighter 6, they announced Cammy, and I think it's is it Balrog?
Cammy or
No, Zangief.
Zangief, thank you, Zangief. That game is still slated for June 2nd. And
I still want to see less fighting and more of the open world, whatever the hell they were kind of alluding to.
The less they show that, Jeff, the more I'm like, that's going to be a very small mode. Like,
dude, this game looks so slick though. Like, holy
it does. Yeah, the fighting does look great.
I'm actually going to buy like the $100 version of that game.
Jeez.
I'm going to go all out on that one.
Yeah. This is one of those times, and I know some of you feel this way with other genres. This is one of those times, and I'm like, yeah, I wish I was into fighting games because this style does look really cool.
I'm usually not
really into them anymore, but the only one I really, really get into is Mortal Kombat. But Mortal Kombat is the only franchise that has absolutely nailed the ability to create a single-player story mode that's worth going through. It's like going through a campaign, and it's fun. They make it fun. So
that's fair.
I'm hoping Street Fighter will do something like that.
They showed a little bit of Resident Evil 4. Which continues to look amazing. There's a Mercenaries mode, a demo coming soon. Like Dan said, kind of a mean tease. Like either shadow drop it or don't say it. But whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Demo mode's coming.
Should have just dropped it there at the show. That could have been your shadow drop.
It would have been. That would have been something actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They only offered a humanity demo, and that was it from the whole show. Yeah, it's interesting.
And then, what do you guys think? If you watched it, what do you think of the extended look at Suicide Squad from Rocksteady?
I feel like the only person that has positive thoughts about it, not among here, but just like the internet in general, like, is everybody's crapping on it as a live service game. But as I told Kyle in our chat, like when we were discussing it, I refuse to treat this game like people treated Gotham Knights, because I almost bought into the Gotham Knights hate a little bit, and then I played it and I was like, this is hella fun. What's the problem?
Does Gotham Knights have to stay online?
I'm getting the same feeling from Suicide Squad of like people are just hating it because they see live service elements in it, even though they're not there. They're not actually in the game. They just don't want to do gear management, and that's it. But
I don't think Gotham Knights has the online always.
Yeah, because they're saying that this does.
You're right.
That doesn't actually bother me. I just kind of scratch my head at it.
I would actually have to check, because I think you do have to be online even to play single player. On Gotham.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember, honestly. But the point is like, I refuse to treat another Batman property aligned with Rocksteady and WB games like that, because I know that once we get hands on, we're going to be like, dude, this is fun. Like, it looks fun.
The last two superhero games that had some negativity based on certain previews were Guardians of the Galaxy and Gotham Knights. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy ended up being generally loved by a lot of people, got great reviews.
Definitely.
Gotham Knights just got overly hated for whatever dumb reasons. I enjoyed both of those games tremendously. And so I'm not ruling this one out as being great. I just didn't find the extended look to be anything that made me go, okay, now you've taken me from being, I was like at a 7 of excitement. Now I'm at an 8 or a 9. Like I'm still like, yeah, it looks like I expected it to look. It looks fun and it looks slick and it looks good.
I already know.
Well,
I will love it.
It doesn't
look to be sold on it.
Yeah, it didn't move the needle, but that's not negative. It didn't make me all of a sudden say, no, I don't want to play this. So
I think it's just almost like a jarring shift because it's like we had all those Batman games that were a very specific style. And also you're focusing on one character, right? Like it's Batman mainly. And he plays a certain way and that world felt like a certain way. And this feels a little jarring, right? Because it's like the gameplay looks way more frenetic and you're jumping around and...
Well, that was what you're saying was what I found to be hilarious and unlocked. Somebody was bitching about this game, and they were like, Batman had stealth, and it was. I'm like, because they're different fucking characters, you moron.
Right.
Exactly.
Why would you just even assume that these 4 unstealthed characters would be like?
You want Shark to do stealth?
Like
yeah, Shark doing stealth would be amazing.
People did bring up a great criticism that I found really funny about like King Shark using a gun in the game, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a fair point. He doesn't really use a gun in the comics or anything. He's a freaking shark. He just needs his head.
Yeah.
So yes, good point there. But like, it's doing a Crackdown thing that I think looks really fun. So I don't.
Yeah, well, that's
why
like
the Crackdown comparison. That's good.
That's why I was saying jarring though, because it's like it's jarring for a moment, but it's like this looks like a fun video game,
right?
Yeah.
As its own separate thing. Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah. I
mean, it's not as jarring as the Evil Within folks making Hi-Fi Rush, but it is jarring.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's
just
it's true.
One of the things, like I actually was telling a couple of guys that were bitching about, like they don't like the video game, like video gamers anymore, and they're gamers, but they're like, we don't like gamers anymore because all they do is complain. I said, one of the things that I like about our show is it's 5 different people, 5 different personalities, but for the most part, we're very positive. Like, yes, I complained about Atomic Heart, but it's actually
it deserves it.
It's already come out and it's deserved it.
Yeah.
But when games are not even out yet, this is not a show that sits there and bitches and makes up like dramatic stories to get attention. Like,
right.
That's what I can't stand is like, just let this game come out. Don't try to say what it is before it's come out. Don't try to be like, well, it's not like their old stuff. Well, it's not like their old stuff because they're not making a Batman game. It's a different characters. It's going to be different. Let it be. Then once all the details are out, if you don't like it or you don't want to buy it, then don't buy it. You don't have to announce it and try to get everybody on your shit wagon to hate on something, and I just see it too much. And
I think their opinions are so important, Derek. Their opinions.
Well, it's gonna have to begin with this.
And I
game.
saw the same exact thing with Hogwarts. And this is not about whatever the controversy is with the creator of the books. It's not about that. I'm talking about with gamers crapping on the game itself. Yeah. And then like they would search out reviews that were, particularly negative that confirm their bias, and they were like, see. It's bad. So they're just going to do the same
That's
thing.
What Bill Burr says we do. He says we go to imright.com and say, see?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. They're going to do the same thing with Suicide Squad. It's just gamers online, at least. And for those of us that are always, it sounds like all of us are the same version of connected always to the internet and people's dumb takes. So, like, people are just going to do the same thing. And
it's just gotten really good at, like, ignoring it. Meaning, I'm talking about it here. But
me too. I used to reply, but
like
now
Tim probably
saw
me in Beyond. I used to fight with everybody. I'm like, motherfucker, you don't like this guy? I'm coming for you.
There were times when Derek would engage with people, and I wanted to be like Mr. Incredible when little Incrediboy was around. I'd be like, I'm not affiliated with him. I'm not affiliated with him.
I don't know who this person is.
Yeah,
it's just so absurd how like we as nerds were like being a nerd was like a bad word when we were kids, right? And getting bullied and all that, and now like all these dumb nerds bullying other nerds, but just also anyone because it's like
having fun. Those type
like
of guys.
Just a bunch of morons. Just like we're all savages. Like we're all just savage.
The problem with that too is that it creates a vibe that if you are trying to like have an intelligent conversation that might include criticism of something, people get super defensive super fast. They don't want to hear what you're saying. You're like, well, I'm actually not trying to be a jerk. I'm just like pointing out I don't like their marketing plan or how they're talking about it, or like the preview we saw. Like you can't even do that now because so many people are just way over the top. You get kind of like I've been put in this bucket before. If I say something, someone will be like, "Oh, here we go again." Like the whole crowd is just the whole internet's all negative. I'm like, well, I'm not doing that. I'm just okay. All right. I can't make any kind of observation. Right. So that's another negative of it, is that it's hard to have intelligent conversations about it outside of this podcast.
You could just leave that sentence at it's hard to have intelligent conversations. That's it.
Thanks to the internet.
It really is.
Thanks, internet.
Well, Tango Gameworks has confirmed that Shinji Mikami is indeed leaving. And there's some context here that I want to blow in there.
Well, that's because Jim Ryan has signed him to release Hi-Fi Rush on PS5.
Oh, he could suck at Xbox.
If you guys, I don't know if you follow sports news, but he could pull an Antonio Brown and have a picture of him and Shinji Mikami in bed together and like tweet it out at Microsoft. Anyway,
this is a huge blow.
So yeah, it is, but it's also not that surprising when you look at the context. So in 2020, he said he wanted to direct one more video game project before he retires. Said he had no shortage of ideas, and they're not limited to horror games. And then he said there's something else he wants to do. He wants to make his own game, to make another game. And I feel like when you're at a Microsoft-owned company, now they're Microsoft-owned, and they really want you to make Evil Within 3 and maybe a Hi-Fi Rush with all its success sequel. And he wants to create his own thing.
Right.
So if you look at that, and in 2020 he said like, I want to do one more big thing and then retire. So to me, I'm like, hey, he's doing one big last hurrah, and it might be more than one. He might end up like finding a new fire.
But he just wants to be on his own, just like Kojima. Kojima doesn't want anybody tying him down.
That's exactly what I think he's doing. So like, is it a huge blow? Yes, but also like maybe it's going to be great because maybe he'll.
Well, I mean, it's a huge blow for them, for Tango Gameworks, because I mean,
I don't think so. I think I don't think it is, because I think Hi-Fi Rush proves that he's left that studio in good hands.
Well, sure,
and that they have the freedom. And even if they do release an Evil Within 3, we know that they can release a quality Evil Within because they already did it with 2 without him like actually doing the game. So I think the studio where it's at, I think
he was pretty hands off with Evil Within 2 as well. Like I think he started.
That's what I'm saying.
I think he was like overseeing it, but yeah.
I think this is actually a win-win for Microsoft and whatever he ends up doing, because I think we're going to get a new game from him that's going to be what he wants, where he doesn't have to answer to anybody. Unless he ends up signing a deal with another company to fund it, maybe he'll have to answer somewhat. But I think for the most part, that's what he's seeking, is freedom. But I think it's a win for Microsoft because I think Tango's already in good hands. I think they're fine.
Yeah, well, but it is a big deal. It is a big deal. Yeah,
it is. I totally buy the theory that it's he's trying to get away from Microsoft basically and have more creative freedom. Totally buy that.
We already talked about the Wolong demo that's out now.
He's definitely getting in bed with Jim Ryan.
Oh yeah,
that's the part I left out.
I'm gonna Photoshop that.
He wants freedom. Freedom.
Oh man. Hogwarts Legacy has hit 12 million copies sold, over $850.
Wow. And how many of those copies were sold to transgender people?
Oh, good lord.
I mean,
probably about 2-3%. Isn't that what the open world action RPG was?
Every transgender.
The math actually checks out. It's actually accurate math. I don't know.
I'm just throwing it out there. So keep in mind though, this is something that Jeff and I were talking about too this week. That's only for the 2 new gen consoles and PC. It hasn't even hit PS4, Xbox One, or Switch. Now, this is all assuming they can make competent ports of those. I'm going to assume the best until we see otherwise. But
I agree.
I think with the Switch, it'll just be a very kind of muddied and like bad draw distance version of this game.
Yeah.
But I think it'll still be fun, especially. I mean, think about the young kid. I think about my daughter playing this.
Men with wands.
It's just stick men.
Same thing with Call of Duty. It's a stick men with guns.
Dude, like
it's now just a side-scrolling game where
it's literally like I made a joke about it in the chat. It's gonna be just a re-release of a PS2 Harry Potter game. That's all it is. They're just gonna be like, no, guys, it's Hogwarts Legacy. It's what you want.
It's the Lego one. It's just one of the Lego.
It's the Lego one.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, yeah, that's incredible, man. That 12 million copies, like those are kind of numbers that like Sony hits for some of their biggest hits. Nintendo hits for pretty much all of their mainline Nintendo games.
My understanding, this was the biggest recent comparison that I saw on Reddit, was Elden Ring sold 19 million copies. I'm sorry, not 19 million.
They're just now up to 20.
I think 12 million in like a month.
The first.
Like, yeah,
right.
And like so it took
Hogwarts
them way more time to.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Elden Ring is just now
like
up
they hit
to
20 million. Yeah,
they're just now up to 20 million, which is, by the way, that's a mega hit. Like that's huge.
For that type of game, that's
for that type of, and really for any game, like 20 million copies sold of any game is actually
any game that's not like a franchise player.
I'm just saying, like a game that's basically built off being difficult and draw that much attention.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any game that's not Call of Duty, or I guess that's the comparison
and with no previous IP,
Call of Duty. Yeah,
it's a brand new IP. That's remarkable. But anyway, Hogwarts Legacy. I'm glad to see this too, because listen, I'm always the one to kind of roll my eyes at here's what the internet thinks, because that's usually going to be a collection of super loud Reddit / Twitter / whoever users. And sometimes it ends up being somewhat accurate. Like, hey, that was the vibe and the culture. So I'll acknowledge that. But I feel like more often than not, the over-exaggerations of folks on those platforms turns out to be a big puff of nothing. It's just like, that was nothing. So like
it's what Dave Chappelle said in his last special, where he's like, Twitter's not real life. Like,
it's not real. Yeah.
It's not. It's not real, man. And I know that, like, I wasn't a huge fan of his last special, but that rang true for me in a big way. Like, I took that with me in my life when I started to read certain tweets that I disagree with. I'm like, let it go, because it's not real life, you know.
It's always a spectrum. It's you got the two sides on each side of just the insane people, and then you have all of us in the middle, just kind of looking back and forth, like, what the fuck's going on?
And
like,
most people are in the middle.
It's like us watching a tennis match, and then at some point we just stop watching the match and we go, I'm just gonna play the game. I don't have time for this.
Yep, exactly.
But I think this game, with controversy or not, was going to blow up.
Yeah.
I mean, people, like I said, people that don't play games were talking about this game when the PS5 was launching. They were like, Derek, can you give me a PS5? Because I want Hogwarts. That's all they said.
Yeah.
So
it's the Harry Potter game that anyone who's read the books and watched the movies.
A friend of mine that I went to high school with, we graduated together, and she's a mom, has a kid. Her husband is the gamer. She is playing this game, and she like was posting screenshots of her on a broom and stuff. And I'm like, I can't believe you're playing this. Like, you are not a gamer. And she's like, yeah, my husband's walking me through a lot, but like, this is a universal game. It's just, it speaks to a lot of people.
Yeah. You know? I mean, because it's like, and some of these people, I'm sure, literally have absolutely zero clue that any of that stuff was going on the internet. Right.
Of course, yeah.
That. It's like, it's just crazy. And like, they could go out and buy that game and then come home, be really excited about it. And maybe they have to know somebody that is like trans or something. And like, maybe they're talking about, and then that person like gets all irate all of a sudden. They're like, what are you even talking about? I'm just playing Harry Potter. Like, what's the big deal? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's just it's insanity, because it's like, and then
dude, I just want to be a wizard in the books that I read and loved, you know, like that's it. Like,
ironically, Dan, in that scenario, that person might even approach their trans friend or family member and be like, did you know you can create a trans character in here? And they have main characters you talk to that are trans or LGBT. Like, how progressive is this Harry Potter stuff, huh? Like, they'd probably if they didn't know the context, like you actually could be like, hey, this has been one of the most progressive games I've seen ever.
It's just unfortunate. It's like I said, it's both sides, because I saw like leading up to it, because, you know, I've been streaming now, and I noticed like people share. I'm following people following me on Twitter that stream, and they share things, and it's like, it comes from both sides, because then you have people that are streaming that have people coming into the chat being like, hey man, you know, but a little bit, but not like extreme. But then they explode on them and are like telling them to suck their, you know, this, and like eat my ball, and it's like, that's not the appropriate response though, because now you're just being, or they're saying that they bought it on purpose to piss off the community. It's like, that's childish. You're being a child. Like, just play the game.
You get the best results when you just respond kindly.
Yeah, you want to buy the game because you want to play.
This is coming from somebody that enjoys being a dick.
But that's the thing. Like, people grew up these people grew up loving these books, and then the movie. It's like they just love the franchise. That's there's no association to her. You know what I mean? And
it's like Bruce Green said. And granted, he has the space to be a little more. How do I phrase it? A little more like liberal with how he plays the game. But the way he phrased it in his video was, I've loved Harry Potter for 20 years, well before J.K. Rowling outed herself as a shithead. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's totally fair. Because I personally don't agree with a lot of what she says. I don't. But I mean, it's not, I love the books and the movies way before that. So, I mean, I'm going to play the game. I'm sorry.
And it's almost like you can be an adult and disagree with somebody and realize it's not everything's hate speech.
We do this podcast.
I don't like J.K. Rowling.
We don't all agree all the time.
I think she's stupid about a lot of issues. I'm talking prior to what she said about this.
I agree, Derek.
I thought she was 100%.
Stupid. Yeah.
But not once have I been like, I won't watch one of her movies.
Yeah.
No, why do I freaking care?
And a lot of the times they'll say it's because, well, she's getting the money. It's like she already got that money. And I'm sorry. And I'm sorry though, like, well, because they say that she's pumping that money into these things.
No, it's all control. I'm not gonna do this because we're on a podcast. Insecure people want to control you. That's all it is. So if you see somebody tweeting, they're insecure and they just want to control the narrative. It's all fear factor that they believe something terrible is going to happen, that we're going to kill all transgenders, we're going to kill all gays, and it's not happening. None of it's ever going to happen. Nobody
can. No, I know. But what I was specifically saying is some of those people have said, like, because she like lobbies for this and that, and it's like, okay, well, like, let's just say that is true though. Like, I mean, there's Harry Potter freaking theme parks. Like, there's the theme park. There's all of these things that are gonna just it's gonna keep existing. She's gonna keep getting a paycheck, and I get it. I know that makes it sound like I'm kind of like being like, well, give up and who cares. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like. People attack each other. Everyone's at the bottom attacking each other, right? As opposed to going to the source. It's like, well, clearly you have a problem with her. Focus your attention and what it is that you're upset about at her and not at each other. You guys are attacking each other. Fight the issue, which is her, because that's what they're saying. They're saying their issue is her, right? So keep your focus on her. Why are you attacking each other?
And also, she had not. I mean, as we've probably stated on this podcast before, and it's been iterated in the news and by the developer, she has nothing to do with this game.
Right.
She's just getting residuals. Like, just like any other creator of a world would.
But they don't like that. You know? She's getting the residuals. We gotta cut off all of her money. It's like it's just not.
And people think residuals mean
tweeting on
50%.
Twitter.
It's not
tweeting on Twitter, and guess who gets your residuals? Go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, paying for that blue paycheck, that blue check. Right?
And again, like, I'm more in Dan's camp here on this. Like, and again, it's not like we're saying, oh, you're not allowed to use Twitter now. But like, think about the platform you're on and who owns it, and how you feel about his position.
Or the Amazon orders that you're ordering, from a company that like literally lets their employees just collapse on the ground.
And do you know what Apple's practices are with the way they get their phones made? Like, come on, stop it.
Not slave labor, but factory, whatever you call it. I forget what it's called. Sweatshops.
It's all these people at the top that are going to do these things, and it's like, I mean, it's like your hands are tied. But again, everyone's fighting each other at the bottom.
I'll go ahead and say it. I'm sorry, but doing the things that they do is way worse than her holding an opinion, whether or not you agree with her opinion or not. It's just her opinion.
I totally agree.
And I understand that you might think it's a horrible opinion to have. That's totally fine. Like, some of my favorite artists are absolute jerk atheists who hate Christians and will actively go out of their way to, and that hurts my feelings that they would do that, but I freaking love their music, and I'm a big fan, and I'll support their music because I think their music.
I won't listen to any song that mocks Jesus Christ.
And that's a core of who I am. I don't like what they say about that, but I'm like, well, I'm just not going to listen to what he says about that, but I'll still enjoy it.
I mean, dude,
one of my favorite. It's not that hard to do. It's just not that hard to do.
One of my favorite animes of all time, Rurouni Kenshin. I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Rurouni Kenshin is an excellent 90s samurai anime. The guy who created it, because first there was the manga and then there was the anime. It was a few years ago. He got arrested for child pornography.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, so now what? Am I supposed to just never ever like? because he wasn't just the only person who created the anime. There was technically all those other people that made it.
Do we hate Good Will Hunting now that Harvey Weinstein produced it, or any Quentin Tarantino movie for that matter? Like,
how about them apples?
Yeah, right. Literal, like, I mean, for real.
Well, and Dan, even that example, at least I could be like, oh, I understand what you're saying. I understand why someone would be like, I'm not gonna watch or whatever, consume that content anymore because of knowing that.
Yeah,
that's totally fair.
Yeah, and that's a personal
That doesn't
choice,
mean that anyone who does is now a supporter of anything he did or thinks about anything. So this whole conversation is not ours, but like the conversation culturally about her. I still find like it just grinds my gears because even if someone goes, even trying to lay the groundwork, well, she does say some horrible stuff. I'm like, who cares? We've all said horrible stuff. I think things I probably shouldn't about people all the time. And if you pretend like you don't, you're lying. So we all have opinions that we are like, well, I'm not fully informed on this, or I'm not as empathetic as I should be about that, or whatever the issue is. All of us are going to have opinions that someone else finds abhorrent in whatever realm that is. That should not impact whether or not you should be able to make money off of your skills. It's ridiculous to me that they want her to like either be dead or at least poor and homeless.
Like if
for this opinion,
you would only need to take a stand if she's actually creating something that actually pushes that narrative that you don't like.
Right.
So a good example, like Lost Prophets, the lead singer. I used to love that band.
I was literally
going to use literally raped children. I had a problem with that. So he went to jail. The band disbanded because guess what? The band, when they found out, they're like, we got a problem with that. So I don't support them anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to I'm not going to make a big deal about it. You just don't support them anymore. You move on from it. Because that was disgusting behavior, but that was never in their music.
I guess
in their lyrics.
It's true.
They were pushing
that
narrative.
A more recent example would be R. Kelly, right? Because he literally just got sentenced more 20 more years in his existing 30-year prison sentence for I think federal charges relating to child pornography. Right?
It's not good.
Yeah, it's not good. But I Believe I Can Fly is a good fucking song. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's a good melody.
Yeah, it is.
It's a good melody.
And I also wanted to bring up
Space Jam.
The last thing I wanted to say, for me at least, was, this Hogwarts thing brings up the whole debate about ethical consumption and whether or not it's possible in our current market and stuff. And I'm like, well, you're opening the door to debate this ethical consumption thing in regards to how you use Twitter still, even though you disagree with the owner, and how Amazon, stuff like that, stuff we've already mentioned. You're opening the door for that. Don't just say, well, it's easier for me to not play Hogwarts. Like, no. You're opening the door. So just commit to what you're believing.
Do you still go to stores where have you been to Walmart? Because some people who are involved with Walmart have not always done the best of things.
Right.
No. Come on,
the people who run Walmart are fucking assholes.
You know what's funny is
how about Chick-fil-A? They're closed on Sundays. That's the most ridiculous.
That is the most. That's the most offensive
thing.
That's
your God, all right. He's for your God, all right.
Yeah, that is.
Doesn't matter. I only crave Chick-fil-A on Sundays.
Yeah, it is. True.
Tim Hawkins already has a song about that. But I think the funny thing about all of this is I feel like I come off as a J.K. Rowling defender a lot in these conversations. I highly doubt that on a personal level we would get along in most areas of life.
She's a feminist retard.
Well, she doesn't really. The interviews that I've seen her, I'm like, she doesn't sound like a super friendly, outgoing person that I would want to hang out with.
Yeah, she's a little cold.
So that's what I'm saying. It doesn't seem like someone who I would want to defend as a person.
I do appreciate that she's blunt, though.
She's blunt.
Like that, you don't find a lot of women that are like that. A lot of women are followers. I appreciate that if she feels what she feels.
People are offended by you right now.
Yes, if she feels what she feels, she says what she says. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. So that's the irony of all this stuff is I'm just like, I feel like I do this a lot. I'm kind of like arguing on behalf of someone who I disagree with on most things. Even on some of the stuff she has said that have gotten her in such hot water recently, I'm like, well, that's not a nice thing to say. I shouldn't say that. Like, there's a better way to express your opinion than that. Like, there's certainly areas where I would criticize her, but then I'm like, that doesn't affect Harry Potter or Hogwarts.
People, and especially, not always to just then blame it on COVID and all that, but there was definitely kind of a lot of eye opening of like, oh shit, there's definitely like way more pieces of crap out there in the world because people really just do not care.
Everybody was forced to interact with each other online exclusively at a certain point, and that's when all the dumb opinions came out even more. Like it's.
Agreed.
It's a scientist during that whole thing. Everybody was a medical expert and a scientist during that time. Everyone knew exactly.
During that time, we still are, man. We're all our own medical scientist expert at this point.
I don't need science when I got WebMD. It tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah, I got Wikipedia, man. I'm good.
By the way, everything is cancer. That's what I'll tell you. Everything's cancer.
Well, that's unfortunate.
My pinky hurts. Cancer. Probably cancer.
Probably pinky cancer.
Don't be too vague.
Speaking of Warner Brothers, who, by the way, they're just swimming in that money right now, man. That Warner Brothers is they got to be happy with this.
That's why they're going to announce Mortal Kombat 12.
That's what I was just going to say. CEO says Mortal Kombat 12 is coming this year.
Hell yeah.
I'm sure the developer was like, did you guys know that?
Like, who's not the one we're making, right?
Yeah, Ed Boon was looking around like, wait a minute, what?
Did you get? Oh shit, we got to start working on this.
By the way, you guys
he's been hinting. He always plays.
You think they'll make a follow-up movie to the Mortal Kombat movie?
Yeah, make a second one, man. Maybe not with the same guy, but
yeah, that's fun. That's a fun movie.
It was a fun movie.
Yeah. EA is apparently polling fans and game developers, their specific email groups, it seems like, to see if they want remakes of Dead Space 2 and 3. According to Dylan Rogers, he's a game developer, he got an email survey from them asking, how interested would you be in a similar remake of Dead Space 2?
Do they not have access to their own sales records? I'm just confused.
My answer is absolutely yes.
Yeah.
No, I bought Dead Space as a mistake, and so did all the other 10 million people.
Exactly.
Yep.
So silly. Of course we want it.
All right, guys, let's wrap things up with other things we're playing or watching. I'll just throw out a couple here real quick. Farlanders is kind of like a turn-based city building game on Mars. I actually do think it's pretty fun. If you like kind of strategy city building kind of games, it's on Steam. But it's turn-based, so like you can set up some buildings, do some things, but then you run out of turn. You have to hit the next turn.
That's weird.
But you're not taking turns with another person. You're kind of just like, time goes on, you collect some resources that have come in, new colonists might arrive, and then you begin your next turn. So it's interesting.
This is wild.
It's an interesting take on city building. I like it. It's all grid based, and I think it's a fun little game. Farlanders. It's got a Super Nintendo visual aesthetic to it, and so.
But are you on Steam Deck playing it or something like that?
No, I'm playing just on PC on
Steam Deck verified. Is it Steam Deck verified?
I don't think it is because I got to use mouse.
Steam Deck verified.
Speaking of Steam, and by the way, this is not deck verified because I don't think there's controller support for this game yet, but it's a demo for a game that's scheduled for this year called Wandering Sword. It is very much like a Octopath style visual style of game. Yeah, with that kind of pixel art with the depth, but it's kind of 2D.
I'm into that.
But it is very much like a samurai type story, but it's set in China, I think.
China.
The storyline is just really cool. Like there's this big
this disease from China.
There actually is a disease involved. There's this big war going on, and your little band of merry friends or whatever are just trying to travel through this war-torn land. You get caught in this conflict, and pretty much you're the only survivor of your crew, and you're dying of this poison. And when you wake up, there's this kind of grumpy old samurai guy who's in hiding with his daughter, and he's trying to help you, nurse you back to health. And so he keeps giving you little quests here and there, but then the story takes a cool turn as the game goes. I just thought it was really neat. I just like the setup.
Does that one have a release date?
Yeah. It just says 2023. But the combat style is kind of like if you ever saw like Mega Man Battle Network with like the rectangle shaped grid.
Yeah.
I mean, you can move wherever you want, but it just kind of has that vibe to it where it's not a full screen grid. It's just like a grid. And so think like a tactics game, right? Where you can move a certain distance and you can attack, but there's active time battle bars filling up. So your speed stat will influence how quickly you can take a turn. So it's not just a straightforward, like, here's the list of characters, and when they go, there's actually like these little bars that will fill up, and you can stun them to slow theirs down, or you can speed yours up. So it's got a little bit of active time battle mixed with turn-based strategy. I just thought it was pretty cool little game. I like it. Just played the demo though. I didn't get super far. But yeah, it's on the wish list now. If that means anything. Another demo I tried was Theatrhythm Final Bar Line.
Yes.
And I think I pretty much pushed the demo to every point that I could. Like I kept trying to like unlock another game and more songs, and I was just having so much fun with this little game. And I say little, but it's actually a massive freaking game. It's got so many songs.
But even in the demo, there's 30 songs. 30 songs and like five people per game you can unlock. Like in like I think across like what 5 games they give you.
Yeah, I think there's a total of 100 characters you can unlock in the full game. There's like just under 400 songs. This is before DLC even hits, which will add more, of course.
It's 30 years of a franchise of music.
It's so good. Like it's got these cute little art styles and apparently there's some other cutscenes from games like the dance in Final Fantasy VIII, for example. So there's some cutscenes where you can play the game on top of that FMV running in the background, which I think is cool.
Oh, cool.
But I didn't see any of that. All I saw was like the little cartoony visuals as you're running around fighting. And I think the rhythm gameplay is actually quite fun. So
me too. I mean, I literally couldn't put it down as soon as I started.
I did not expect to like it. And at first, I was like, "Yeah, Dan's right. You can hit any button for some of these." But then, as they add in these extra complex layers of two buttons at once and switching and then up and down, then I realized, like, oh, that's because they want you to be able to hit whatever button's comfortable for you because we're going to throw a lot more at you than just those buttons.
Like there's layers there. It's just, I guess in my head, it's like I was kind of like. Because I was trying to remember, and I never really like played it, but I've seen it. Parappa the Rappa.
Oh yeah,
you guys remember that game? But there was actually like you'd be hitting different buttons, right? Like it would scroll, the triangle would scroll through, or the square. So in my head, I was thinking like it would be better if it was kind of more like that, because I'm having to pay attention to which exact button I'm hitting on like my controller or something. You know what I mean?
There's also a rhythm game. What was that called? Space Channel 5. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Where you were like this reporter in space and she's doing all these dances, very Bayonetta style dances. And you were doing dance off with aliens to like defeat them. That was a Dreamcast game, I think. But anyway.
Yeah, it was,
it's very much like that, where there was lots of like, it actually would prompt you with X or square or circle or whatever on the screen. This is not that, but it adds a different layer of buttons into it, which I don't know. I just think it's really good. I think it's really
I had a lot of fun with it. And like let me, I have to speak as somebody who legit has no nostalgia for Final Fantasy at all. Like I literally played this game and could not put down the demo because it's just a fun game.
The tutorials are really well done.
It's so fun. Well. Like I played through every single song on just basic mode. Like I didn't up the difficulty or anything. But the fact that I was able to like do that and enjoy myself, and I don't have any like attachment to the franchise, like it just speaks to the quality of the game.
Your characters are leveling up, and you're unlocking summons and items.
I'm adding more like attachments to each character, whatever they're called. I don't know what they're called. But, and it was just really fun to play.
I see why it's reviewed so well.
Me too.
Well, I'm glad you guys and again, maybe it would just be something that I'd have to be sitting down and just keep playing and then be like, all right, well, I'm not minding this, but and
I will say of the 5 or 6 that they made available to us of the music, I think Final Fantasy 14 Online was like my favorite score to listen to.
Final Fantasy 14 has pretty excellent music.
It felt so much more varied than the other ones that I played.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, because it's an MMO, so there's like it's been around for like a decade now.
Oh right, yeah, that's the one that has like 32 something tracks, and the rest have like 18.
Yeah,
so it's an insane amount of tracks.
It's a pretty fun little game. But those are the main ones that I'm playing outside of the new stuff we talked about for this week. Dan, what do you got? Anything you're playing this week that you want to highlight?
So I watched. I'll throw out a movie, and then right now I'm currently. Actually, I wish I had it here. I'm replaying the first RPG on stream, the first RPG I ever played when I was a little kid, and that's Super Mario RPG.
Ooh,
I popped into one of your streams for that one. Yeah, it looked fun.
Yeah, you were in there. I was like, wait a minute, that name's from. Oh, right, it's Jeff.
I love the timing on the defense and offense for that.
Yes, I love that. God, and that was kind of like the beginning of all that, because then you go to like Legend of Dragoon, for example, and they sort of like up the ante with that, because it's a bit more complex where you're like doing it multiple times within a combo of a turn. But yeah, that game, that was the first RPG I ever played back in Blockbuster. I don't know. Y'all remember Blockbuster?
Oh, yeah.
Used to work there.
Going into a Blockbuster, and I saw it on the shelf. I was like, Mario, I like Mario. Let me pick. And I had just never played an RPG in my life. Had no clue what that was. And when I popped it into my Super Nintendo, it was very difficult. I had no idea what was going on. I couldn't wrap my head around it. But then eventually, I asked my mom to like buy it for me and for like Christmas or my birthday or something, and I was able to beat it, and that was just like, it's just a lot of nostalgia attached to it for me. It's just a very important game,
man.
Yeah, with like Final Fantasy VII and like that game are like some of the most important games to me. So, and then I watched a very high quality story movie.
This feels sarcastic already.
It's about a moon that falls.
Oh no, you did not watch Moonfall.
That's gonna be on our current fall.
Yeah,
current fall watch. Yeah, current fall watch.
We're gonna talk about Moonfall.
Listen, I'm like way more easy breezy about movies. Like, I don't care if the story's dumb. Like, it was like, there's just things happening in that movie, and it's just kind of like a fun watch. Like, who cares? Like, whatever. I
tend to stay away because I watch so many movies. I just tend to stay away.
Right,
from
you watch way more movies than I do.
Like, so. I probably will someday when I'm like super bored and I'm like, I'm in the mood to hate watch something. So like, I'll probably watch that.
Hate watch.
Well, what's funny to me is like, you watch these movies, right, that aren't like, I don't know, biographies or whatever. They're just like movies they're fictional. It's just, and especially if you're going to sci-fi and whatever. And it's like,
that one's not fictional, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, the moon legit fell. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I must have been unconscious or something.
It just didn't hit very hard. It just kind of.
But like,
it bounced off the earth and went somewhere.
But like, people arguing about these movies being dumb because it's like they're illogical, and it's like, I'm sorry, but none of this is effing real, you idiot. Like, why do people have to argue about the dumbest things? Like, well, like the science doesn't make sense because, but it's like, dude, the moon has never fallen, you fucking moron. Like,
it's
you
like
don't
Armageddon
know.
or whatever, where people would, and I love that as a kid. And yes, I see the
I like
trappings of that movie,
man. Whatever. I
but
like that movie.
But like, it's such a ridiculous. We're gonna send oil drillers up to the freaking asteroid. It's so dumb.
But it makes
but it's so good. It's so fun, dude.
Like, who cares? Just suspend your disbelief and just have fun.
That whole like goodbye sequence still makes me sad.
Oh man, I cried in the theater. I was like, I saw that,
so
and I
good.
was like, I love you.
I think I just think I like the title track. Like the
Aerosmith.
No.
Aerosmith.
The actual like theme of that.
Oh, the theme is good. That's
yeah.
I had the soundtrack on CD. I'm blanking out on who did it, but it's good. It is a good theme.
Know.
I agree with that. I did have that soundtrack.
It was a really good.
It wasn't Hans Zimmer, was it? It wasn't Hans Zimmer.
No.
No.
Who that? I'm a Hans Zimmer expert, dude. That was. I've never seen this name.
Trevor Rabin.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. Apparently he was a producer for Manfred Mann's Earth Band.
Manfred Mann, sure.
He was in Yes. Was he in Yes too? Yeah, he was in Yes. Anyway, Moonfall does sound like another version of Armageddon. That's what I've heard.
It's just a complete wild ride nonsense thing.
Yeah.
But
good cast, though. I like the cast.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was fun. I was watching it while I was working. I didn't hate it.
Perfect.
I love it. Yeah, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was just kind of there, and it was fun. So
for me, did you have more, Dan?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. The only game I had that I don't have anything I'm watching to talk about, but Hogwarts Legacy, I did complete my first playthrough of that as a Slytherin. As my Slytherin playthrough, I opted to do like a kind of like a gray area Dark Wizard where I'm cool with using unforgivable curses as long as you use it for good. But there are options in your dialogue where you can go, no, I'm going to save all that power for myself. There are options where you can just go full Dark Wizard, and I did not do that. So that was a lot of fun, man. And the main story is pretty good. Like, it's pretty good. But there are side stories that are just written way better. Like, your side story with Sebastian is way better. He's in the House Slytherin as well. By the way, the Slytherin common room is infinitely way better than the Hufflepuff common room. I found that out. It's so cool. It's got like a snake that wraps around the door, and it's underwater. Like, you can see through the windows. You can see underwater and fish and where mermaids are.
That's way cooler.
It's so rad, dude. But Hufflepuff is like in the back of like the basement or something, and you have to knock on a door. I'm like, what the hell kind of common room is this?
The disrespect to Hufflepuff.
But I will say on the boss fight, my advice to everybody is to actually use all the tools at your disposal, meaning all the potions that you have and stuff like that, because there are stupidly annoying parts in that fight where you can't attack the boss until you hit certain spells on bubbles that are going to pop up around you. And the boss is attacking you the whole time. So you're going to have to use, I forget the name of it. There's a potion you can use that makes you impervious to all damage, and you just stand there and take it. Like
Eridus? Or no?
Yes, that one. Okay. That one where your skin hardens like a rock, basically. So use that a lot, and just use that to take down the bubbles, and then you can actually start attacking the final boss. But that's my only advice really for that, because that was pissing me off so bad. And then I was like, oh, I haven't even touched the potions. Whoops. Like I just realized I didn't use everything the game was giving me. But the game is super good, dude. Like as a Harry Potter mega fan, like not like a diehard that knows all the trivia beats or whatever, but like I love the series a lot. I'm watching the movies all over again. Because of this game being so good. I just love it so much, and it's definitely my game of the year for now. I mean, it's February, but still, it's my game.
There's been some good ones though.
So yeah, it really has.
There's been some good ones. By the way, I was looking at. Sorry, I got distracted when you said Trevor Rabin. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's done other movies, dude. His movies that he's done the score for. Let me just give you a couple of these. Con Air. Con
Air is legendary with the guitar parts.
I love Con Air, dude. Armageddon. He did Enemy of the State. That old Will Smith and Gene Hackman movie.
I love that movie.
Deep Blue Sea, Gone in 60 Seconds, Remember the Titans.
Deepest bluest, my head is like a shark's fin.
Yeah, so he's done a ton of scores.
This guy did everything I loved at that time. Wow.
Yeah. He did Bad Company. He did Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg. He did.
All right, that's where I fall off. That's where.
That's where I fall off. Marky Mark.
That's probably actually where his career fell off.
He kind of stayed in the B movie range in the 2000s with like Coach Carter, Glory Road, Snakes on a Plane, like Fly Boys.
I still haven't seen Snakes on a Plane, even though I'm told that I should. Yeah, I know. I'm a movie guy, and I haven't seen that movie. What's wrong with me?
I'm not saying it's good, but you should have seen that movie.
You haven't seen these mother effing snakes on this mother
effing plane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Hogwarts Legacy is amazing, and I am through. That's why I bring up the Hufflepuff stuff, because I did start a second playthrough, and I'm going to be a goody who tells on everybody. I'm going to be a tattletale, because there are opportunities to do that, to tell on people. Like there's a part in your first potions class where you can corroborate with one of the Weasley kids.
Gareth.
Yeah, and in my Hufflepuff playthrough, I didn't do anything he said. I said, no, I'm not doing any of that. And because I didn't want to get in trouble. I got commended after the class by the.
See, I'm playing the middle of the line where I helped him, but then I totally owned up to it afterwards, and so the teacher forgave me right away. So I'm kind of doing.
I tried to hide every time they tried to get me to confess something in the Slytherin playthrough. I tried to hide it. I'd just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. I would just
Jeff was Slytherin over there.
Yeah, I was Slytherin. Get it, guys?
Slytherin.
That's been my main game. Smart. Like most gaming time that I've had this past week has been Hogwarts, and
it's important to know in a game like that too when to walk away. Because I got to in my first save, I got to 96% complete on all challenges, and I got to a certain point where I was like, well, I don't really feel like exploring caves anymore. I don't really feel like finding out where the field pages are. And
that's how most open world games wrap up for me. Is I'm like,
I don't feel like doing it anymore.
I understand what's left, and I'm not going to do any of those extra things.
Exactly.
And that's a good time to hang it up.
So with the Hufflepuff playthrough, I'm not really going to do as much exploring. I just want to explore different avenues of the story and see if there's anything that changes there.
What a good game.
But yeah, it's a fantastic effing game.
Yep. Anything else before we wrap up? Any other games or movies or shows? I did watch The Glass Onion with my wife last night. We both liked it a lot. What a fun movie.
The movie's so good. I watched it like twice. I think
I liked it more than she did. I think she liked the first one better. Something like
I like the first one better too.
But we still both really enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
I think there was something about something has already happened and he's got to figure it out. And this one had some of that, but not. I don't want to spoil it. It's very unique. It's a very unique take on the murder mystery genre.
I will say that Ryan Johnson, who also did that show Poker Face, the show Poker Face starts with you watch the crime happen and you watch who did it, and then you have to see somebody come in and figure it out.
That's like Columbo.
So Glass Onion is kind of like that, where it's like it's obvious what happened, but it's about figuring it out.
Right.
And Knives Out, yes, I did like that more because the humor just played better. It was just a bigger surprise.
But boy, the cast.
But I still love
both,
Glass Onion.
The cast in both were great. The acting was great. We enjoyed it a lot. So
such a great man. Such a great freaking, like, I love Batista yelling at his mom. Like, there's so many bits that are just like hit really hard. I love that part where he's like really mad about a character being dumb, and he just goes, or one character says, "It's so dumb, it's brilliant," and he goes, "No, it's just dumb," and I laughed so hard.
I like how mad Daniel Craig's character gets at the idea of Clue being a good game. He like hates the game of Clue. I thought that was funny. Anyway, all right. Well, that should do it for us for this week.
Games. Yeah, it's so funny.
There's not as much coming out in the next few weeks. You'll probably hear us recapping more of the same games that we're playing. Maybe some more like deep cuts stuff.
No, I'm gonna be Destiny Lightfall comes out next week. Then we got Wolong.
They'll be. Don't get me wrong. There are new games. There just won't be as big of a wave. The last 2 weeks have been like 5 new games have arrived. We've talked about all of them.
Scars Above is coming out full release.
Yeah, that's $25 on CD Keys. I know you guys were interested.
Dude, yeah, that's a good price. I'm gonna get that then.
Yeah. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching, and you guys have a great weekend. See ya.